What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 9PB Chapter 206. Are you the ever-burning pupil master? Seeking subscription? Advertisement. This old lady is naturally the famous elder of Sunagakure. During the Second Ninja World War, the person who broke the poison of Hanzo of the Salamander by himself, so that the situation on the battlefield was reversed. Same, it is also the strongest puppet of Sunagakure in existence, division. The famous rebel, the grandmother of Sasori Chiyo. People who can put so many names on, of course it will not be any simple miscellaneous fish. Therefore, when I saw her on stage, even Shing Yu couldn't help but his expression moved slightly. He who has passed Hokage, of course, can't fail to know the noble status of this old woman. Before she retired, she had been the elder of Sunagakure, and her status was almost equal to that of Konoha's Utatane Kaharu, and she was completely equal to Fengying. Later, because her son and daughter-in-law lost in the war, after the death of Konoha's wife Fengying Hitaki, she lived in seclusion with her younger brother Ebizo, and didn't want to care about the Wind Country anymore. Since then, began to retreat behind the scenes of Sand Shinobi. Her only wish is to meet her rebellious grandson, Sasori of the Red Sand. In the original book, she was invited out of the mountain after Gaara was taken abducted by Akatsuki and after Kankuro was poisoned. In addition, in order to save the dead Gaara, the forbidden technique, reincarnation, was used. He ended his life by exchanging life for life, and successfully resurrected the tailed beast and the separated Gaara. But now, she actually appeared when Gaara was about to be caught. This of course makes Qing Yu feel strange, an old woman who retreated behind the scenes tomorrow morning. Actually rushed directly to the front line? Could it be that? Her timeline has also been changed. Has 060 change? Qing Yu couldn't help but be puzzled, however, what he didn't know was. In fact, as early as a few years ago, when Qing Yu came to photograph Sunagakure as a ranged shinobi ninja. Because of Gaara's disappearance and Fourth Kazekage Rosha's serious injury and coma, she was called out of the mountain at that time. Since then, at the request of Sand Shinobi's ninjas, she returned to the position of elder and participated in government affairs. Continued to this day. Only, since Sand Shinobi has always been very peaceful, Qing Yu did not pay attention to these things at all. Now, moonlight circulates. Qing Yu looked ahead calmly, still unmoved. After all, Deidara is still there. If he can't handle this thousand-generation mother-in-law, Qing Yu won't be too late. And at this time, on this side, when Deidara saw that she had used the puppet to take away the unconscious Gaara, she paused and looked slightly. After all, although he has competed with many puppet masters. But this is the first time I have encountered an existence that can control 10 puppets with 10 fingers at the same time. Not to mention, she also put on a posture of seeing death as home. This scene is really bluffing. Thought of here, Deidara frowned suddenly, and said in a loud voice a little uncomfortable. Hey, Oba-san, who are you? Why stop me? I don't want to do something to an old guy like you who is halfway into the soil. Later, others will say that I don't speak forbearance, Deidara still smelled like always. He spoke very rudely back then. After staying with Shing Yu for a few years, he has learned a lot of swear words and dirty words. And hearing this, the face of the thousand-generation mother-in-law on the opposite side did not change. She was still gloomy and whispered. Humph, breast smelly arrogant boy, the 10 puppets in the hands of the old man have destroyed a city. With your strength, can you stop it? The voice fell. She suddenly made a move, activated her 10 fingers with both hands, controlled 3 of the puppets, and launched a sneak attack. I saw 3 puppets under the traction of the chakra line, moving at high speed in an instant, and one dodged, directly placed in a triangle formation. At the next moment, at the same time raise your hand to make a seal. Stare. The moment the Jia Yin is completed, I saw a huge white tornado, and it suddenly appeared above the heart, and it suddenly covered Deidara in front of it. Puppet Art 3 Treasures Suction. The violent aura is no less than the sandstorm that Gaara launched before. And at the moment, those winds did not attack Deidara. Instead, there was a huge suction force, which was constantly sucking him in the direction of the center of the battle. Even the clay-white bird under him could not stop shifting in that direction. Seeing this picture, Deidara's face suddenly changed slightly. Spray. What's the situation? Although this old woman seems to be a little bit weak. Advertisement but did not expect, does the strength seem to be slightly stronger than Gaara, Quasi-Kazekage just now? This is really outrageous, isn't it? Too late to think about it. Deidara's face instantly sank, and she raised her hands, and 4 white detonating clays resembling round balls appeared in her hands. In the next moment, he almost didn't even think about it, so he directly threw the 4 detonating clay in his hand to the center of the 3 puppets that controlled the formation technique. Humph, want to suck me in and attack? Then, try to absorb my bomb first. Drink. Deidara raised one hand, and while making the seal with one hand, she gave a low voice. Next moment, I saw that the 4 detonating clays sucked into the center by the tornado instantly cracked, and then, they exploded directly. Boom. The fire is everywhere, and the smoke explodes. However, not waiting for Deidara to be happy, but I saw a weird thing happened. The explosion caused by the 4 clays turned out to be extremely small under the suction of the tornado. So that, the 3 puppets who maintained the formation next to them were not affected at all. Deidara's pupils shrank slightly. It was the first time he saw such a strange puppetry. Unexpectedly, still a bit strong to know, in the past, all the puppet masters he had fought, without exception, were almost all of them. And the puppets they control, in front of Deidara. It's almost entirely scum. Any detonating clay can directly blow up those puppet masters who are not influential. But the puppets in front of me are different. It's like a qualitative transformation. Worthy of being a puppet who claims to have destroyed a city. There are indeed two brushes. While Deidara's eyes flashed slightly, he quickly responded. He immediately raised Jian, controlled the clay white bird under him, and flew in the direction of one side. The purpose, of course, was to avoid the tornado suction attack from the three puppets. The old woman's attack is really annoying, it seems. It's better to catch the target early and leave directly. While thinking like this, Deidara instantly drove Shiratori to fly forward, and this time, the purpose was very clear. Gaara was in a coma. But, just when his white bird flew to normal, the mother-in-law of the 1,000 generations seemed to realize his purpose in an instant, and her eyes were low and said, "Don't think about it." As soon as the voice fell, his hands moved again. I saw the two puppets behind him suddenly appeared in front of Deidara. The two sickles were raised at the same time, and they slashed directly at Deidara. The light of the knife reflected the moonlight, and it was extremely cold. Deidara's face changed in an instant. She gritted her teeth abruptly, and had to steer the white bird back quickly. Although he just wanted to use the detonating clay to blow up the two puppets directly, but at such a close distance. Once it detonates, maybe even he himself will be affected. Although he loves explosive art, but he is not Qing Yu. Without a glazed body that is inviolable, naturally I dare not just explode indiscriminately. Therefore, if you want to blow up these puppets, you have to step back first and get away from them before you talk. Base. Say it's too late, then it's fast. Just as Deidara's white bird retreated, the two puppets' sickles passed 5 centimeters in front of his body in an instant, looking very thrilling. Even Deidara herself couldn't help but shake in a cold sweat. Instead, gritted his teeth uncomfortably, to be honest. What he disliked the most was fighting with this kind of close combat. After all, his best explosive attack, once the enemy gets close, there is no room for him to play. Even, sometimes in order to hit the enemy, he must release the attack at the risk of being injured. But, thus, it's two wolf fox he still likes to fight with ninjutsu like Gaara. After all, his explosion is very suitable for long-range kiting against the enemy, and it is easy and enjoyable to fight. But at this moment, just as he spoke in his heart, the 1,000-generation mother-in-law opposite doesn't seem to want to give him too much time to breathe. Advertisement, it's not over yet. Before the words fell, his hands began to dance together. I saw the three puppets just now, and they suddenly began to change their positions, and the center of the formation once again turned towards Deidara over there. At the same time, 2 more puppets carrying big knives, from under Deidara's body, suddenly outflanked. Together with the 2 sickle puppets on the side, Deidara directly formed a 3-way pincer, which was unstoppable. Seeing this picture, Deidara suddenly raised her eyebrows, and she almost cursed directly. This close combat is annoying enough. What's so special about giving me so many melee stickers at the same time? Call. Deidara gritted her teeth, with an ugly expression on her face, driving the Shiratori again, and quickly withdrew in the direction of the only neutral gear. No way. At this close range, he has no way to control the power of the explosion, and it is very likely to hurt himself. You know, this battle, but his Jinchuriki debut, he doesn't want to go back to business with an embarrassing injury. Then, before you know it, he was controlled by a puppet controlled by a 1,000-generation mother-in-law, and he was forced backward step by step. Finally, take a sigh of relief, it was evacuated to the outskirts of Sand Shinobi again. Distance Qing Yu, there is less than 10 meters left. Seeing this picture, standing in the shadow, Qing Yu raised his eyebrows and said with a light smile. Hello, Deidara, why are you playing so embarrassed? As soon as the voice fell, Deidara suddenly turned her head, revealing a somewhat irritable and uncomfortable expression. What? It's so annoying, senior. That old woman's puppet, it's like it stuck to me. And the number is so many. When I aimed at this, that one came over. When I aimed at that, this one came over again. It's just like a fly, it's too difficult to get in the way. Deidara said quickly. Obviously, his mentality has been a little broken by Chinde's puppet technique. Plus, he had already played a game with Gaara, and chakra consumed a bit too much. Now, naturally, I'm a little weak. See here, of course Qing Yu also knew his situation, and couldn't help but move slightly. If you drag on like this, it's not a problem. It's better to make a quick decision and go back to the business as soon as possible. Thought of here, Qing Yu lifted up his steps leisurely, and while walking towards this side, he smiled lightly. 4.6 Then let me come. Talking, he raised his hand slightly, and saw that countless blue spirits gathered in his palm. In an instant, it was directly condensed into a dazzling spirit bow. Under the moonlight, as frightening as fangs. Seeing this picture, Deidara's face suddenly stagnated. What, senior, he actually wants to make a shot himself? And, this bow and arrow, what kind of magical technique is it? Deidara was totally in love. This is another technique he has never heard of before. At this time, Shio, who was chasing over there, originally wanted to continue chasing Deidara, but suddenly discovered the existence of Qing Yu beside Deidara. The first moment she saw it clearly, she suddenly felt slightly surprised. After all, she had never seen this person. I have never seen such a strange way of fighting. However, when she saw a pair of bright golden pupils in each other's eyes. In an instant, Chiyo's eyes were completely frozen, his face changed drastically. Are you the eternally burning pupil master? P.S. Big guys, today's 2 chapter updates are posted together. Tomorrow is still divided into development. Chapter 207. This kind of gap is not a fight at all. Subscribe. Advertisement. Under the moonlight, the 1000-generation mother-in-law who was still pressing Deidara and chasing her just now, completely froze at this moment. An old face lost its color almost instantly, paler than moonlight. The color of horror on his face can be clearly seen by individuals. Not to mention Deidara. He stood beside Qing Yu, and naturally noticed this very clearly for the first time. Subsequently, he was immediately dumbfounded. Everburning Pupil Master? Is this title referring to Senior Qing Yu? When did he have such a title in Sand Shinobi? Was it when the Sand Shinobi mission was shocked? Deidara was sluggish while thinking in her heart. He joined Akatsuki late, naturally, it has not caught up with the big scene of that time. But, however, he still vaguely heard some of the situation at the time from other Akatsuki members. For example, Qing Yu used the summoning technique to summon an extremely powerful armor warrior. With a single sword, he cut off the arm of one-tailed Shuhei in its ultimate meaning tailed beast bomb. As a result, Shuhei directly wrapped Jinchuriki and ran away. And then, he easily killed Luo Sha at the time of Fourth Kazekage and completely defeated the Sand Shinobi camp. Finally, leave calmly. But, as for the title of Eternal Burning Pupil Master, it was the first time he heard. But it seems to be quite appropriate. After all, before Qing Yu's eyes, there is always a glimmer of magnificent golden light, just like a flame that never goes out. While Deidara was thinking, the 1000-generation mother-in-law on this side is not so leisurely. Her whole body was tense again after a long time. The big sweat particles began to surface on her gully forehead. And her look is equally ugly, she in a high position. I can't remember how many years I haven't played in the O2 game. I can't remember how many years I haven't experienced the so-called trembling experience. But now, when she looked at each other with Qing Yu's golden pupils, she felt it comes from a sense of oppression on the soul level. It's like facing the falling sun in 2 rounds, it makes people breathless. The mother-in-law of the 1000 generations was holding Qing Yu in front of her tightly, her eyes condensed, her breathing involuntarily stagnated. She didn't think of it at all. This golden pupil who once defeated Tsunagakure with his own power, has come back again. And, he was still wearing the same uniform as the yellow-haired bomber. Red clouds and black, was it a member of the same organization? Then, Chiyo, who was still living in seclusion, naturally hadn't seen the battle with his own eyes. But, when he was invited to treat 4th Kazekage Luosha, I heard various detailed descriptions from the surrounding Sand Shinobi ninjas. For example, how did Qing Yu scare away one-tailed Shuhei, and how did he kill Fengying Luosha in just a few rounds? Those contents, the more you listen, the more evil they become. Even finally, Chiyo had already begun to wonder if they were an illusion. What this says, it's a bit too ridiculous. It was not until Luosha woke up that all this was fully confirmed. The originally radical Luo Sha, the first sentence after waking up, turned out to be to completely terminate the infiltration plan of Rain Shinobi village. It can be seen how much fear he felt in that battle. Since then, those golden eyes became the most feared existence among Tsunagakure ninjas. Both Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara at the time failed to bring such a sense of fear to Tsunagakure, and they were managed by a teenager from Rain Shinobi village. Therefore, even Chiyo has never met Qing Yu, but at the first moment, I found these extremely special golden pupils. The silent silence made the atmosphere more solemn. And at this time, advertisement after hearing Chinde's words, Qing Yu raised his eyebrows slightly, and said with a light smile. It looks like, you Sand Shinobi's memory is pretty good, you can remember me. The voice fell, Chiyo's pupils shrank slightly, his back became cold, and his face became more solemn. No doubt, the other party has already admitted his identity. Now, it's more troublesome original, it is already very tricky to repel that bomber. But now, after joining this golden pupil, more tricky. It's hell difficulty. Chinde's heart suddenly sank, and he immediately moved his hands and 10 fingers together. Stare. The chakra thread is instantly solidified. Immediately, the 10 puppets in Jinsong immediately followed suit. 3 puppets who were good at formations stood on the sky in the forefront, facing downwards diagonally. On the left and right sides, there are 2 melee puppets holding sickles. And around Chiyo, each stands a puppet responsible for defending against attacks. After all, as a puppet master, her physical fitness is not better than that of ordinary ninjas. Plus the age has gone up, it's even weaker, therefore. Of course, it is necessary to use a puppet with a stronger body as a means of life-saving. As for the remaining puppets, he was still behind Chiyo, firmly guarding Gaara, who was completely unconscious. Because she knows the importance of Gaara. At the time when Sand Shinobi is lacking in strength, he is not only Jinchuriki who carries Sand Shinobi's strongest weapon, one-tailed Shuhei, but also a face-lifted Tsunagakure agent. Regardless of his identity, he cannot be taken away. Otherwise, Sand Shinobi will completely fall into the bottom. And this time, she also couldn't call other Sand Shinobi to help. After all, in front of such 2 powerful enemies, any negligence, it may cause the death of the ninja. In other words, the ordinary Sand Shinobi is here, and it's just a gift. And she herself, because she was very confident of the 10 puppets in Jinsong, came forward to rescue her alone. Most of the other Sand Shinobi were forcibly ordered to stand by. So, even after Gaara was really taken away, Sand Shinobi also has the background to plan a counterattack. Chiyo is standing by, while thinking about it, and this side. After Deidara saw her posture, she suddenly said seriously. Senior, be careful. The 3 puppets above her are good at attracting people. Moreover, the speed of the 2 melee puppets is also terrifyingly fast. Deidara said with gleaming eyes. He is also a somewhat experienced person, and naturally wants to tell Qing Yu what he currently knows. However, after hearing this, Qing Yu didn't move at all, just smiled and raised his eyes. Then, he also raised the blue spirit bow in his hand, and said with a light smile. Deidara, in the face of the power of absolute disparity, there is no need for intelligence. Like this. The voice fell. Qing Yu instantly raised his right hand, but saw in the air, countless golden spirits suddenly gathered, and finally, they condensed into an extremely sharp arrow. The power of the Quincy's sacred arrow. Seeing this picture, Deidara and Chiyo have a heartbeat at the same time. No doubt, the 2 of them have never seen such a weird scene. What kind of technique is this? Not only does the bow in his hand appear out of thin air, but even the arrows can be drawn directly at your fingertips? This just when Deidara was stunned. Chiyo on the side naturally reacted to something wrong immediately. Her face changed abruptly, and immediately after gritting her teeth, she immediately controlled the 5 puppets in front of her, attacking at the same time. Among them, the 3 puppets on the top immediately closed their palms together, and naturally they once again used the 3 treasures to absorb, and a huge white tornado rose from the ground. Advertisement and the 2 sickle puppets below didn't pause at all, quickly circled to the left and right of Qing Yu, and swung their swords down. Although Qing Yu has not officially shot, she is already very nervous. After all, in the information of the original Master Sand Shinobi, there has never been such a weird trick. It is hard to imagine what weird effect will be, therefore. After thinking about it for a moment, she chose a sneak attack. Preemptive strike. But, at this time, I saw Qing Yu in front, but still calmly put the golden spirit arrow on the bowstring, and then gently pulled it to loosen it. Boom. The moment the bowstring rebounds, the arrows are in and out in an instant. And the next moment, an arrow that was originally unremarkable suddenly changed into countless arrows at the moment it left the bow. The golden light rushed up all over the sky, like a torrential rain of arrows, instantly towards all the puppets in front, attacking indiscriminately. Overwhelming, the momentum is like a rainbow. Moreover, it was as if they were automatically searching for the enemy, and the 2 beams of arrow lights rushed towards the 2 sickle puppets beside Qing Yu. Then, puff. The extremely powerful attack power directly destroyed the 2 puppets in an instant and exploded. The pieces of iron are scattered, only ruins are left. Seeing this picture, Chiyo and Deidara's pupils shrank at the same time. This is also okay? Actually shot the legendary turning arrow? However, before they can think about it, I saw a rain of arrows in the sky and began to rush towards the 3 puppets that released the formation technique. It's too late to say, then soon. Between the electric light and flint, the 3 puppets have no room for reaction at all, and they are also directly penetrated through their chests, instantly destroyed. Bang! At the same time that the chakra thread broke, the 3 ruined puppets fell 060 downwards. And the continuous rain of golden arrows did not stop at all, still moving towards the ground below, covering the sky and the earth. Even Chiyo, who controls the puppet behind him, is also within the range of the arrow rain. After a while, her face changed suddenly. After that, it was almost too late to think about it, and immediately controlled the 2 puppets beside him to block in front of him, trying to resist the attack of arrow rain. However, this kind of operation, in front of Qing Yu's sacred extinguishing arrow, there is no effect. Bang, touch, smash, pierce, and destroy, completed in an instant. By the way, even Chiyo, who was blocked, was also directly penetrated by this bunch of golden arrows. Puff. The blood spewed out in an instant, but just in an instant, it was instantly evaporated by the golden divine extinction arrow, and then disappeared into the air. And her face, at this moment, completely stiffened. What is this? Why are my 10 people in Jinsong so vulnerable in front of him? This is the rumored as the golden eye power? This moment. Thousands of days in time felt so cold, until this moment. Only then did he understand what Fourth Kazekage Luo Sha had said when he woke up. Then, he stared at Chiyo very seriously and said, "Never provoke Rain Shinobi Village, never try to fight the man with golden eyes. All his power, both have completely surpassed the dimension of Ninja World. Even if it's just a random blow, it's far from what we can afford. In other words, he is the strongest." Then, for these words. Chiyo's heart is naturally very weird. As the strongest wind shadow, Luo Sha would call an outsider the strongest. But now, she seems to understand a little bit this gap. Even, it's not a fight at all. Chapter 208. Let Shao feel the power of Suya Palace, seeking subscription. Advertisement. The cold night wind blows. With a pale face, Chiyo's consciousness began to recede in an instant. Next moment, he fell feebly backward. Boom. The body fell to the ground, and there was no more movement. And above her hands, the chakra threads that radiated out suddenly all dissipated and no longer existed. Then, the 10 people in Jinsong who were originally controlled were all immediately scrapped. The puppets who were protecting the unconscious Gaara also fell immediately. This series of pictures, just like a chain reaction, at the moment Chiyo fell, all were triggered. And Deidara, who was standing behind Qing Yu, was immediately shocked when he saw this picture. Although just now, he also thought of the result of Qing Yu's victory. But I can't think of it at all. Jingren will come so easily. Only one trick? Deidara's pupils tightened, looking at the bow and arrow in Qing Yu's hand, and froze for a while. What kind of technique is this? It's crazy, however. Just when he was shocked, Qing Yu here still had the same expression, just raised his hand lightly. Stare. The blue longbow in his hand instantly turned into a burst of blue spirit streamer, and after it diffused, it disappeared. It was as if it had never appeared before, leaving no trace. And at this time, Qing Yu turned his head, looked at Deidara here, and said casually, "Take Gaara, let's go." Talking, he just turned around and walked over here. At this time, Deidara reacted suddenly and nodded quickly. Ah, good. After all, he ran over quickly. He raised the unconscious Gaara and threw it on Shiratori's back. Next moment, loaded with Qing Yu, broke through the air and left. So far, the one-tailed Jinchuriki capture mission is officially completed. Above the night sky, Shiratori drove towards the sky and disappeared. However, at this time, the sand shinobi who were guarding in Sanagakure were still guarded. Each of them looked solemn and seemed to be waiting for movement outside. Until a long time later, a young ninja showed a weird expression and lowered his voice. What's going on? Why haven't there been any movements for a long time? As soon as the voice fell, everyone around was naturally puzzled. It stands to reason, when I was in Sanagakure, the 1000th-generation mother-in-law has always suppressed the explosion-style boy. After going outside, on the contrary, there is not much movement. Strangeness. After tangling for a while, everyone looked at each other, and finally decided to send 2 people to investigate the situation outside. After all, the mother-in-law of the 1000 generations just told them not to show up to fight, and did not order them not to go out. After a while, the 2 veiled sand shinobi ninjas rushed out instantly, going in the direction where the mother-in-law of the 1000 generations just disappeared. However, just when they saw the picture on the sand under the moonlight ahead, they all froze for a while. What happened? The mighty 1000 generation mother-in-law was silently defeated? The hearts of the 2 were extremely shocked, and at the moment, Qing Yu and Deidara on this side have already embarked on a journey back to Rain Shinobi Village. Sitting on the white bird, Deidara was obviously excited, grinning and saying, "Advertisement, senior, we 2 are definitely the fastest group, right? Next, it seems that we can successfully capture the next human column, Deidara's yellow hair fluttered in the wind and said confidently. Because, according to the rules set before departure, the group that completed the tail beast capture first, naturally can begin to prepare to capture the next one. And this is exactly what Deidara hopes for, after all. Every battle, it is the sublimation of art, but at this time. When Qing Yu heard this, his eyes flickered and he didn't speak. And his gaze, in fact, was staring at the system panel above the void. Open black lens bracket the king of the night system close black lens bracket open black lens bracket host. Qing Yu close black lens bracket open black lens bracket Ryotsu. LV.8, higher, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Zanpakutō. Shinsō, 100%, close black lens bracket open black lens bracket swordsmanship. Penultimate close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket white hits. Penultimate close black lens bracket open black lens bracket Shunpo. Ultimate close black lens bracket, Kido. Ultimate. Props. Deathmaster outfit, Shao. Veer, Rain Shinobi. Veer, portable righteous skeleton. Restoration medicine, vibration point, black framed glasses, spiritual scroll, return scroll. Other skills. Shinigami's hollow power, LV.4, Quincy's power, LV.3, normal fusion Aronkar's steel skin, black chamber, LV. Max, Ryotsu sensing, LV. Max, secret technique thousands of anti-white snake, LV. Max, summoning in other worlds. Black rope scourge Pluton, LV.2, outside summoning Jillian Manos Grande X10, LV.1, hairspray hand, LV. Max. Open black lens bracket mall level, LV. Max close black lens bracket, friendly reminder smiley face detected that the host has successfully captured one-tail Shuhei Jinchuriki Gaara for Akatsuki, triggering a new main mission. Do you accept it? See the end. Qing Yu's heart suddenly moved slightly. What's the situation? Is it possible that capturing 9 Jinchuriki is one of the main tasks of the system? This surprised to astonish. It is naturally impossible for Qing Yu to give up receiving the main task. Only, this trigger method, he hasn't encountered it yet. Take over. Qing Yu answered in his heart, next moment. I saw the system interface in front of me suddenly flashed, and at the same time, the familiar prompt sound instantly came from my ears. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have triggered a new main mission. Participate in the big event, Amazing Peace Plan. As a member of Akatsuki, please help Akatsuki complete the capture of the 9 big-tailed beasts Jinchuriki, 1/9. Unfinished, the reward is unknown. The current progress is as follows. 1. One-tail Shuhei, Jinchuriki. Gaara, 1/1, completed. 2. Matabi, Jinchuriki, Wooden Golem, 0/1, unfinished. 3. Three Tails, Jinchuriki, Yagura, 0/1, not completed. 4. Four Tails Monkey King, Jinchuriki, Lao Zi, 0/1, unfinished. 5. Five Tails Kakuo, Jinchuriki, Han, 0/1, unfinished. 6. Six Tails Seiken, Jinchuriki, Yu Gao, 0/1, unfinished. 7. Seven Tails Chome, Jinchuriki, Fu, 0/1, unfinished. 8. Eight Tails Gyuki, Jinchuriki, Killer Bee, 0/1, unfinished. 9. Nine Tails Kurama, Jinchuriki, Uzumaki Naruto, 0/1, unfinished. See here, Shing Yu's eyes suddenly became weird. What happened? The nine-tailed beasts, Jinchuriki, are all listed. This wouldn't you want me to do it alone? Damn it. Although I like to earn some ryatsu, but you don't like to be a pure hitman, right? Can't even fish? Just when Shing Yu had doubts in his heart and was puzzled. The prompt tone of the system came out again. Ding. Friendly remind host, when other Akatsuki members complete the Jinchuriki capture mission, the system also determines that it takes effect. It can be done without the host's own hands. As soon as this sudden tone fell, Shing Yu couldn't help but raised his eyebrows suddenly, and then chuckled lightly. So that's it, in this case, it is a little more reasonable. Advertisement this main task, it seems to be the only one that can be done by fishing. After all, in the original, except 8 Tails Killer Bee and 9 Tails Uzumaki Naruto, the other 7-tailed beasts were successfully captured by Akatsuki. In other words, at that time, Shing Yu basically only needs to make a few moves at 8 tails and 9 tails to complete the task easily. Really good, senior? Just as Shing Yu stared at the system panel and fell into thinking. The sudden voice of Deidara from the side interrupted his thoughts. At this time, Shing Yu raised his eyes and looked over, saying, "What's wrong?" But seeing Deidara look puzzled, surprised and authentic. "Senior, what were you looking at just now? The place where the eyes are focused seems a bit strange." Deidara said carefully. Of course he couldn't understand it anymore. And hearing this, Shing Yu was a little bit ashamed. He almost forgot, there is this Deidara beside him. So, he arbitrarily made up, "Oh, nothing. The eyes are a bit tired, I am doing eye exercises." As soon as this word falls, Deidara was completely confused at once. What's the situation? What the hell is eye exercises? I have never heard of it, very awesome anyway. Even the true eyes of the evil king of Senior Qing Yu, will they be tired? Deidara was surprised, after all, from him in the past. Every battle that Qing Yu participated in was all easy to do. No matter what kind of ninjutsu opponent he is facing, his battle will never exceed 10 seconds. Almost all are absolutely one-sided crushing, under these circumstances. Don't say tired, Deidara even felt that Qing Yu had never been serious. But now, he actually said his eyes were tired. This. After thinking for a long time, Deidara came up with a reason to convince herself. Probably because the more powerful eyes are, the more expensive it is to use. And, of the kings, Qing Yu Sr., since there is such a terrifying true eye of the evil king, it is normal to consume more. While thinking, Deidara nodded suddenly, then no longer surprised. And at the same time on the other side, the remote country of Rain. Outside Rain Shinobi Village, on a hill, now, there seems to be a brief twist in the space. The invisible Uzumaki appeared from it, like a tornado. And the next moment, 2 white figures, awesomely emerged from the Uzumaki space. The one on the left, he is pure white and bright like moonlight, with a pure white sword slung around his waist, with flying silver hair, and wearing a fox ghost mask, which is very mysterious. And the one on the right, wearing a gray-white kimono, wearing a white mask that resembles a bad wolf, and also carrying a white shinobi sword, it feels full of cottage. It is Hollow's mask Shing Yu, and Uchiha Obito after a facelift. Now, both of them stared at Rain Shinobi Village in the distance at the same time. Under Obito's mask, there was a voice that was always low and pretending. Next, just let Shao feel the power of Suya Palace. Bo. Chapter 209 The Intruder, was that man? Advertisement? The cold wind blows. The white hem was blowing in the wind. The sound of torrential rain from the sky, suddenly far and near. Now, after Qing Yu heard Obito's words, under the mask of the fox ghost, a strange smile suddenly appeared. I didn't expect it, Obito. Jing Ran really has a rib to this point. I can't wait to bring him here so soon. I want to defeat Akatsuki and take Rinnegan from Nagato. This time, it's really outrageous and G opened the door. Going home outrageously. That's right. Qing Yu suddenly arrived here with Obito at this time. Of course it was because I agreed to cooperate with Obito. Therefore, Obito only recently called Qing Yu, very politely. The reason is nothing more than to use this method to cleverly borrow Qing Yu's power, so as to achieve the purpose of borrowing a knife to kill. For Obito's series of careful thoughts, Qing Yu certainly understood clearly. Even, like mind reading, all can be seen clearly. But even so, he did not choose to pierce, because their cooperation this time is about getting what they need. Uchiha Obito, who was proposed to organize by Shao, in order to continue to complete his project Tasuki no Mi. Want to use the power of Shu Yigong, and the fox ghost Qing Yu. Come to bring down the organization he used to, and now I have Akatsuki in my eyes, and take back the Rinnegan that was deposited with Nagato. And Qing Yu, I also want to use Obito as a reason. Thus, it was logical to initiate a battle against Akatsuki in the name of Suya Palace. In this way, the famous scene task of Shu Yigong vs. Shao in the system side missions can be successfully completed. And, regardless of the battle, the final result. Most of Akatsuki's attention will inevitably remain on Uchiha Obito. Because from their point of view, Obito, it was the instigator of this war. 060 and Shuyi Palace, it was only incited by him. Thus, you can use the pot to Obito perfectly without any worries. This is why Qing Yu needs a reason. After all, he didn't want Xiao's attention to be on his own night palace. Not only that, Qing Yu can also through this cooperation to use Obito's intelligence network in the ninja world to quickly spread his white hit scroll. Let more people learn in order to get more points back from the mall and prepare for future purchases of Hogyoku. This is more than killing two birds with one stone. It is nothing more than killing two birds with one stone. It's a business that won't lose money. That's why Qing Yu didn't choose to solve Obito immediately. Such a great tool, man. Wouldn't it be a pity if you don't squeeze the value? Qing Yu's eyes flickered slightly, his face still had a faint smile. I am really positive, however, Obito on the side at this time, naturally did not know what the fox ghost Qing Yu on the side was thinking. Seeing that he hadn't responded for a long time, Obito coughed his throat lightly and said in a condensed voice. What's the matter, fox ghost? Do you have any questions about this battle plan? Obito asked, staring. In fact, just before coming here. They have already confirmed the plan to attack Rain Shinobi village this time. Therefore, just now, Obito said the very pretending, let Xiao see the power of the Suya Palace, directly to Qing Yu. But he did not expect, after he finished speaking, the fox ghost did not respond at all. Of course this is a bit embarrassing, that's why he suddenly asked. And at the moment, after his voice fell, the fox ghost Qing Yu turned around, just looked at Obito, and said lightly. No doubt, but change the details of the plan a bit. Advertisement. As soon as he said this, Obito was stunned. What the hell? This is so special that I have reached the side of the village, and you suddenly told me to change the plan? Obito was naturally confused, but, out of trust in the strength of the fox ghost, he still lowered his voice and said. Change what? Qing Yu turned his head, raised his chin slightly, looked at the Rain Shinobi village in the distance, and said faintly. Our Suya Palace is not a terrorist organization. I don't have any interest in the existence of civilians like ants. So, if you want to deal with Fu Xiao, let's talk about all Akatsuki's members. Then, I will defeat them all at once, Qing Yu said indifferently. The tone is calm like a frozen lake, without a trace. And after hearing this, Uchiha Obito on the side was taken aback for a moment, and then his heart moved slightly. This, did not expect, the Shuyi Palace that has always been fascinating. Is there such a dogma similar to, do not hurt the common people? Spray. It's really ironic, but want to elicit all Akatsuki's members and defeat them all at once? Thought of here, Obito's Sharingan flickered slightly, deep and authentic. One shot. It seems unlikely, Fox Ghost. You seem to forget what I said. The leader of the Akatsuki organization, Pain, has the ability to contact others remotely. And the very tricky golden pupil Qing Yu in the organization, once he receives the news, he will definitely use time-space ninjutsu to return to Rain Shinobi village. At that time, if you have to deal with Nagato's Pen 6 paths and the Qing Yu's golden pupil at the same time. It doesn't seem to be a great idea, Obito said solemnly. As a person who has personally experienced Qing Yu's power, Obito was naturally a little jealous of his mysterious, evil king True Eyes. That's why it subconsciously reminded me, however. Hearing this, Qing Yu, the fox ghost here, almost lived in Bangbu. Happy in my heart. Does this make me worry about myself? As expected of me, fox ghost Qing Yu chuckled in his heart. In fact, although this war has not yet begun, but he had already planned the final outcome, and everything. Just wait for the right time. But naturally it is impossible to talk to Obito. Thought of here, Qing Yu raised his eyes again to look at Obito, raised a hand, and said lightly. No need to worry, we're invincible ahead of us. The voice fell. Obito, ACEG, was startled. What is going on with this powerful self-confidence momentum? It really deserves to be a fox ghost. Obito couldn't help but feel a strange feeling in his heart. Although he and the fox ghost met in the form of mortal enemies, but now, as a partner, they are indeed very reliable. After a moment of silence, Obito nodded solemnly, and said in a low voice. All right, then it's up to me to lead all Akatsuki members, and then you can do it. As soon as the voice fell, Obito didn't continue to delay any longer, and instantly jumped out and disappeared on the hill. Base. Have to say, advertisement apart from Kamui's life-giving magical skill, his own strength is not weak. It's just that because his Kamui is too slippery, coupled with his habit of striving for life, other aspects seem to be relatively mediocre. Watching Obito's figure go away, the corner of Qing Yu's mouth raised a pleasant arc. And at this time, on this side, in Rain Shinobi village under heavy rain. It's still the same place. Above the gray tower, Tiandao Pain and Konan stood side by side on the edge, staring into the deep darkness in the distance. At this time, Pain was raising a hand with a Wei seal, which seemed to be performing some trick. After a while, chakra surging and disappeared, and he slowly dropped his hand. Konan on the side noticed, suddenly raised his eyes, and said faintly. What's the matter, Nagato? Shing Yu and Deidara, is the capture of one-tailed Jinchuriki going well? That's right. The seal that Pen just made was naturally contacting Deidara and Shing Yu. And at this time, Pain didn't change his face, nodded lightly, and replied. All the best. The two of them are returning to Rain Shinobi Village with Jinchuriki. I have already left the border of the Land of Wind and entered the Land of Rain. At Deidara's speed, it is estimated that I will arrive soon. Good. Konan looked down and nodded and stopped talking. In fact, of course, she would not have any worries about the task Shing Yu personally went to perform. The reason for inquiring is also out of the usual practice. After all, the thing involves the tail beast, and it is normal to have accidents. To be honest, before they go, Nagato also worried about whether it would succeed. But it's not that I'm worried about whether I can capture Jinchuriki, but that Shing Yu's shot is too heavy. After all, with his immense power, the average ninja is indeed difficult. Fortunately, everything is normal now, however at this moment. Just when Nagato was about to let out a sigh of relief, suddenly, in his perception, a weird breath appeared in Rain Shinobi Village instantly. Feeling the familiar feeling from this breath, Nagato suddenly shook in time. Even the look on Tiandao Pain's face suddenly changed. Seeing this picture, Konan on the side was naturally surprised, and quickly stared at him. What's wrong, Nagato? Did something happen? As a partner who has been with him for more than 10 years, of course she can feel the strangeness from Pen for the first time. At this time, Tiandao Pain turned his head and said in a deep voice. There is a critical situation. My Yu Zizai technique detected the southwestern direction of the village, and the breath of intruders appeared. Hearing this, Konan was taken aback for a moment. After that, he immediately lowered his eyes, raised his steps, and said indifferently. Leave it to me, Pain. I will deal with the intruder right now. Talking, Konan turned around, ready to use his secret technique directly to escape. However, before she raised her hand, Pain's heavy voice suddenly came from behind, interrupting her movement. Wait a minute, Konan. When the words fell, Konan's face was slightly stunned. She had never seen Pain appear so solemnly, it stands to reason. Most of the previous Rain Shinobi Village invaders were solved by her. Is there something wrong this time? However, while she was thinking. Then he heard the opposite Pen, his face was so gloomy and authentic. The person who invaded Rain Shinobi this time, it's the masked man who used to pretend to be Uchiha Madara to deceive us. Uchiha Obito. The voice fell, Konan's pupils shrank suddenly and froze for a while. She didn't expect it at all. Intruder. It turned out to be T chapter 210. Is he laughing wildly? Pain 6 Paths debut, seeking subscription. Advertisement. The storm howled. The black rain was torrential. At this moment, everything except the tower seems to be pressing the atmosphere of the entire Rain Shinobi Village to the bottom. It was so heavy that it seemed to be out of breath. The rain this day, the day when Yahiko was about to be killed, almost old. And at this time, Konan in the tower, after hearing what Nagato said, he was completely stunned. Until a long time later, O began to react slowly. At the same time, she also condensed her eyes suddenly and said in a deep voice. What's the matter? Why does this guy come back suddenly at this time? Konan asked solemnly. Hearing this, the heavenly Dao Pain here slowly shook his head and said in a condensed voice. Not sure, but his appearance, it seems to be different from before. Talking, Pain suddenly turned around, and while walking to the side, he lowered his eyes slightly and said indifferently as he walked. Let's go, Konan. Let's go and see what he wants to do. Unsurprisingly, he shouldn't know that Shing Yu has revealed his identity now. So, we still have an intelligence advantage. Hearing this, Konan nodded and immediately followed up. Really, as Nagato said, today, Uchiha Obito should still be reported without knowing his true identity. After all, from the original rally to now, in between, they have never contacted each other. And Obito returned to Rain Shinobi Village for the first time. If there were no whistleblowers, it would be impossible for Obito to know about it. Not to mention, if he already knew that he was kicked out of Akatsuki. Probably he wouldn't go back directly to Rain Shinobi Village so swaggeringly. This is not his usual style. The two walked through the torrential rain. Fast forward in the direction of Uchiha Obito, the masked man. After a while, according to Yuhu Zizai Technique's perception position, he came to the southwest of Rain Shinobi Village. Here, it is a rare gorge in Rain Shinobi Village. Its location is adjacent to the inland lake of Rain Shinobi Village, close to the outside world, and because of the terrain, it forms a line of sky. And at the moment, by the inland lake below the canyon. Under heavy rain, then there was a white figure standing upright, with a weird white shinobi slung around his waist, standing there silently. The moment I saw this picture, whether it was Tiandao Pain or Konan, they were naturally stunned. What's the situation with this look? Uchiha Obito, changed style. Konan hurriedly cast a confused look at Pain, for fear that he had admitted wrong. But I saw that Pain's face was still heavy, without any change. Because, although the appearance has changed, but with this familiar breath, he would not admit it was wrong. After all, from the death of Yahiko that year to the present. They have been cooperating continuously for more than 10 years. This breath, Hinagato, is impossible to forget, after a while. The two of them landed on the ground at the same time, and stopped 10 meters away from the masked man Obito. Immediately afterwards, there was silence under the rainstorm. This picture, there is a sense of fatalistic heaviness. Until half a day later, Obito, the white mask on the opposite side, spoke, breaking the dead silence between the two sides. Under his white mask, he uttered his usual low chuckle, slowly and authentically. Is it unexpectedly coming? Nagato, Konan, under heavy rain. Obito's voice came out unhurriedly. It is still the mysterious voice and familiar taste as always. As if he was still playing the role of Uchiha Madara. And at the moment, when the two Konan on the opposite side heard this, their hearts sank even more. Although I had expected it, advertisement, but, hearing this familiar voice, of course they can fully confirm their identity. After all, in this world, now, in addition to Konan and Shing Yu, he is the only one who can directly call the name, Nagato, to Heavenly Dao Pain. Uchiha Obito, Heavenly Dao Pain slowly raised her eyes and spoke blankly. It looks like, you seem to be waiting for Oos, Uchiha Madara. Pain said indifferently. He still chose to call Obito by this fake name. Purpose, of course, to cover up the identity of the other party has exposed the situation. Therefore, Konan on the side also kept his face calm, pretending to be calm and composed, as if he didn't know it at all. The two people started to act together in such a tacit understanding. However, at this time, what the two of them didn't know was Uchiha Obito, who was on the opposite side, was stunned after seeing their reaction. What's the situation? Why do you still call me Uchiha Madara? The guy Black Zetsu, didn't you mean that my false identity was reported by the guy Qing Yu a long time ago? This TM under the white mask, Obito's eyes flashed with doubt. However, when his eyes were fixed on the opposite pen and Konan for a moment, suddenly, there was a flash of inspiration in my heart. And many more, this Nagato and Konan, isn't it playing me in particular now? Obito's heart sank suddenly, as far as he knows. Absolutely, but Uchiha Madara's loyal dog, a complete benefactor, is absolutely impossible to deceive. In other words, what he reported at that time must be completely true. So, now there is only one possibility, one Nagato and Konan. Playing dumb on purpose. They obviously know my identity, but they still intend to cover it up. Otherwise, nor will it be so short after I entered Rain Shinobi Village. Come here so quickly thought of here, Obito confirmed the situation in an instant. Immediately after, a disdainful smile appeared in his heart. If it was before, he might also choose to act with Nagato and Konan on the spot, pretending to be unaware. Because he needs to use them. But now, he has decided to borrow the stronger hand of the Night Palace to get rid of Akatsuki's words. So, there is no need to act anymore, after all. From beginning to end, Akatsuki is just a tool to complete Project Tsuki no Mi. Their role is to catch the tail beast, but now that there are better tools. No need to install it anymore. Thought of here, Obito suddenly raised his right hand and placed it in front of his mask. Then, he grinned and let out a low laugh, and said, "Ha ha, I really underestimated the scheming of the two of you. Obviously I have been stripped from the Shao organization by you, even the real identity has been discovered by you. But even so, you two still chose to disguise and continue to call me, Madara. This picture is really funny, ha 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 ha." Talking, Obito suddenly raised his head and looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. That madness, it is completely different from the deep and restrained Uchiha Madara before. In the rain, it looks arrogant, and this time, Konan and Pain, who were standing opposite, saw this picture and they all regretted their time. What's the situation with TM? This masked man actually knew that we kicked him out of Akatsuki? And is he still laughing wildly? In an instant. Advertisement Konan and Pain completely froze in place, their pupils wretched. No doubt, they were all shocked by the frantic laugh at the moment, Obito. No one thought, zero, seeking flowers, when faced with the danger of being dismantled. This Uchiha Obito, not only was there no panic, but it was even more arrogant. Konan and Tiandao Pain looked at each other, the expressions are very confused. But also the same, they're very solemn. Because they both realized at the same time that something seemed to be wrong. This Uchiha masked man who has always been very ambitious. How come you were so brave all of a sudden, knowing our enemies? He even rushed to Akatsuki's base camp single-handedly. Even if his original identity is disguised, this kind of character is not possible to disguise talent. In other words, he must have some great confidence. It's not difficult to speculate when it comes to this brand new white uniform on him. This guy, maybe it has something to do with another organization. Thought of here, there is no doubt that Konan and Pain's hearts are slightly dignified. The masked man Uchiha Obito is very strong, and the words of the forces that even he relies on. Inevitable, nor is it weaker than Shaosai, call. Konan let out a sigh of relief without a trace, and slowly began to release the pieces of paper around him, assuming a posture of preparing to fight. And Tiandao Pain on the side also immediately raised his hand, ready to release his unique, Shenluo Tianzheng, at any time. 0. The rain fell from their heads and across their faces. But it didn't affect their concentration, and at the moment. After Obito on the opposite side saw this picture. After a while, he couldn't help but lift his chin slightly, and said with a light smile. "Yao, I didn't choose to do it directly, but chose to guard for 4 weeks? It looks like, you seem to realize that I am here prepared." Obito grinned lowly, patted his chest with both hands, and said very leisurely. This picture is full of infinite confidence, at this time. Pen and Konan on the other side heard them, and their eyes fell even more. Really, this Obito, is he here to fight? It seems. A fierce battle seems inevitable, while thinking. The heavenly Dao Pain's eyes suddenly sank, and his Rinnegan suddenly opened up. Stare, Next moment, I saw from above the gorge. Suddenly, 5 orange-haired figures who also wore Shao robes suddenly jumped out. Shit. 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 The 5 figures, at the speed of a gust of wind. It swept down in an instant, reached the ground, fell beside Pen and Konan, and surrounded them all together. And in everyone's eyes, there is a pair of identical Rinnegan. Pain's 6 paths. Here, this moment, even the heavy rain around it suddenly stopped, and the picture freezes. Seeing the scene in front of you, even Obito couldn't help but shrink his pupils slightly, and then he recovered his peace, then raised his eyebrows, and said in a deep voice. "Ah, it's a lot of trouble, Nagato." As soon as he came up, did he summon all the 6 paths, Pain? This picture is really long lost, Obito said blankly. It is indeed a long absence. After all, since they worked together to destroy Hanzo of the Salamander. He seldom saw this kind of big scene where 6 paths Pain was dispatched at the same time. Now, of course I feel a little bit emotional, but in addition to feelings, of course he also knows. Now that it is ready to go to war, so, it's time. The Invincible Man is officially on stage, chapter 211. He actually intends to take it hard? So brave? Seeking subscription? Advertisement. While thinking, Obito suddenly took out a pure white weird seal-like thing from behind him. There are very ancient and complicated mysterious spells and patterns on it, which are difficult to interpret. This talisman, it was what the Fox Ghost gave him before he came. It is said that its name is Crossing Cloud Arrow. Just by injecting chakra into it, the talisman can quickly rush to the cloud and explode like a firework, thus achieving a function similar to a signal bomb. If it is launched to people, it can directly achieve the effect like a gun. Obito has never seen this kind of fancy props, but I have to say, it sounds very convenient, therefore, of course he will not resist using it. However, at this time, Konan and Pain on the opposite side saw Obito pull out the talisman. After that, all the time was slightly shaken. What is this symbol? New type of detonator? Do not. Not right. The spell above is unprecedented. Aware of this. The two of them felt even more silent for a while. At this time, the opposite Uchiha Obito suddenly raised his eyes, suddenly grinned slightly, and smiled lowly. The next battle, it will probably be the most incredible time in your life. So, don't blink. As soon as the voice fell, Obito no longer had any hesitation, and immediately mobilized the chakra in 060 himself and poured it into the talisman seal in his hand. And at this moment, on the pure white talisman, a brilliant light suddenly appeared. Next moment, suddenly came out from Obito's hand, like an arrow from the string, and instantly rushed against the rain to the sky full of dark clouds. Seeing this picture, Pain and Konan suddenly felt a little tight. However, at this time, I saw that the spell pierced through the clouds, and immediately exploded in the air. Boom! There was a deafening explosion. The colorful Mater light spread out immediately, forming a magnificent picture in the sky. And at this moment, from above the sky, a moon-white figure suddenly descended. He fell like a torrential rain, directly on the ground, instantly causing the surrounding ground to collapse by 10 centimeters. The moon-white air current all over the body is constantly floating upwards like an inverted wind. The fierce coercion instantly invaded the audience. And even more weird is, there is no trace of rain on his whole body. Even if he stands in the rainstorm, it seems that there is an invisible barrier, blocking all rainwater out. Seeing this weird picture, at this moment, whether it was Konan or Pen's 6 paths, they were equally frozen. Because, suddenly they saw clearly, the rain did not wet his body. It was not bounced away, but purely because, at the moment he was about to touch, he was evaporated by the moon-white air currents all over him. Aware of this, Konan and Nagato both felt tighter in their hearts, and the cold behind them couldn't help but rise. This terrifying power is simply unheard of for so many years. Even if the two of them don't say they are knowledgeable, they can already be said to be well versed. Countless powerful people in the ninja world, they have almost all seen. But now, this white figure that suddenly appeared. But it gave them a powerful sense of oppression far beyond others. Just like a beast about to start hunting, and at this moment. Advertisement. The white figure on the opposite side slowly raised his head and looked towards this side. Seeing this picture, Pain and Konan were naturally taken aback again. What is this mask? The white sword fox ghost that Konoha village offered a reward back then? A member of Suya Palace? For a while, Konan and Pain were completely taken aback. Thoughts are directly interrupted, they never thought of it anyway. Obito's helper, Jing Ran, it will be this guy. To know, the Jinyuchung incident of that year, although Konan and Pain did not witness it with their own eyes. However, it has already spread to the ninja world. It is said that the Fox Ghost, with his own power, easily killed Konoha's 2 Jonin, Hitaki Kakashi plus Might Guy, and gave them the title of Konoha Schwanki. And then, in just a few rounds, on top of the positive power, it ruthlessly crushed the strongest rain shinobi village called Blue Lightning, 4th Raikage. Finally, with a gorgeous posture, break the space and leave. There are countless legends left, and the name of Suya Palace. Also officially started in the ninja world, but despite this, since the two sides have always kept the distance between the well water and the river water. Therefore, Nagato never paid attention to this organization. After all, his purpose is only to collect tail beasts to use its deterrent power to achieve world peace, and if the other party does not stop him, he does not have any need to manage. But now, he suddenly appeared here, thought of here. Pain's face suddenly became gloomy, and he looked at Uchiha Obito, who was aside, and said in a condensed voice. Is this your plan, Uchiha Obito? Try to use the power of this night palace to attack Rain Shinobi Village in Akatsuki? In the rainstorm, his voice fell silently, as Qing Yu expected. Even if the fox ghost appears, Nagato's spearhead, as expected, was directed at Obito as the instigator for the first time. Thus, regardless of the outcome of this battle, by the time, most of Akatsuki's attention was still on the leader. It has nothing to do with Suya Palace, however, at this moment. Obito on this side, after hearing this, but didn't care at all. He didn't realize that he had become Qing Yu's shield in the future. Instead, he said indifferently with a face of Dio. Stop talking nonsense. Take a good look at the great power of the Shuyi Palace. As soon as the voice fell, he showed his consistent lifelong nature in an instant. A step back, directly retreated to the side, and directly gave the main stage to the fox ghost Qing Yu. And this side, Konan's expression suddenly became serious, his eyes sinking slightly, and he wanted to start performing his own paper dance. However, at the moment when she is about to act, Pain, who was on the side, immediately looked over, then lowered his voice, and said in an indifferent voice. Step aside, Konan. The enemy's intelligence is temporarily unknown, let me fight. Raindrop rate. Pain's voice does not carry any emotion. A pair of Rinnegan is also like a frozen lake, without any extra psychological color. However, after his words were uttered, they were very categorical and unquestionable. It's like a command. Hearing this, Konan originally wanted to continue insisting, but suddenly he was taken aback. Subsequently, she lowered her eyes slightly and nodded slowly. Also take a step back, withdraw to the side. Of course she knew that the reason Nagato said this was not out of arrogance. Advertisement, he is just making the most correct decision. After all, the fox ghost of the Suya Palace has very little intelligence. If you really want to fight, they are most likely at an absolute disadvantage in intelligence. And Konan entered the war, maybe it will lead to self-death. But Pain is different. This Six Paths pen, to put it bluntly, is just a puppet controlled by Rinnegan of Nagato. As long as the pen of the Hell Road does not die, the other pens can fully recover in a very short time no matter how severe the injury they have experienced. This alone minimizes the risk of engagement, and taking a step back. Even if the Six Paths pen including Hell Road is completely destroyed, as long as Nagato as the main body is okay, it can still be regrouped later. Therefore, Nagato will have confidence, come against a weird opponent you've never met before. Silence spread around, between heaven and earth. There is nothing left except the sound of rain. Under the canyon. Standing on one side was the figure of six orange-haired Pain wearing Akatsuki's red cloud and black robe. On the other side, there is a masked fox ghost with a pure white sword on the waist. Both sides were silent, and no one spoke, however. After a moment of confrontation, fighting, it suddenly broke out in an instant. Base. Almost for the first time, Nagato's heart sank, and he immediately started a preemptive attack. I saw that the brawny Shiradao Pain instantly raised his arm towards the fox ghost Qing Yu, and the next moment, chakra waved. Boom. The explosion sounded, and for a while, his fist was directly disconnected from the wrist. Next moment, just like a cannonball that has been charged for a long time, with an extremely powerful power and speed, it instantly bursts out towards the fox ghost Qing Yu ahead. This is Shiradao's stunt weird arm rocket. It is also one of Rinnegan Pain's abilities. By transforming his body, he uses his cut wrist as a weapon to launch ninjutsu. You only need to concentrate chakra on the incision, and the wrist, which is propelled by the small explosion, flies out in a straight line due to the powerful impact. The destructive power generated by this move, even if it is a thick rock, can be broken easily. And, because the flying wrist is wrapped in chakra, no matter how strong the attack is, it can be put back intact. Its powerful launch speed and impressive destructive power are Nagato's usual tactics often used for sneak attacks or patching. The reason why Nagato chose to use this trick was because he wanted to be surprised. Although this fox ghost hasn't spoken since his appearance until now, of course it shouldn't be underestimated. However, at this time, the scene he never expected appeared. I saw the opposite, the fox ghost, who had been silent, suddenly let out a chuckle under the mask. After that, he stood still, raised a hand casually, opened his palm, and attacked the strange wrist rocket flying in front of him. Seeing this picture, Konan and Nagato were naturally stunned. Wait. Under what circumstances did he actually plan to hardwire in 4.6? So brave? In the face of this violent attack, don't hide it all? Nagato's heart suddenly sank, subconsciously increasing the amount of chakra. The speed of the rocket's wrist that rushed out once again skyrocketed, and the sound of sonic boom was directly produced. Bang! Carrying the terrifying power of destroying everything, the strange wrist instantly bombarded Qing Yu's outstretched palm. Boom! The aftermath of the impact spread, and suddenly cleared all the surrounding rainstorm. However, the picture at the next moment completely froze Nagato. I saw that strange wrist, as if still, was held in his hand by the fox ghost Qing Yu with an extremely relaxed attitude. And the next moment, he only exerted a little force. Bang! That strong rocket wrist wrapped in layers of chakra exploded in an instant. Seeing this picture, not only Nagato, but Konan on the side froze stiffly. This how easy is it? How can it be? Chapter 212 The round of miscellaneous fish should also be over, it's the protagonist's turn, seeking subscription. Advertisement frantic explosion shockwave, it spread violently towards the surroundings, forming a storm. In an instant, it seems to cut off the falling rainstorm. Same, it also blew the clothes of everyone present. And at the moment, Konan and Pain on the opposite side were staring at the front screen, completely stunned. Although before, they have heard the masked man mentioned before. When I was in Qing Yu City that year, the fox ghost used his flesh to block the lightning-style attack of Fourth Kazekage. However, they did not expect, today this kind of outrageous picture will appear directly in front of them. The Shira Dao, which has always been known for its high strength, has been so easily dispelled by the strange arm rocket that it flew out. And at this time, the fox ghost opposite didn't seem to blink. From start to finish, surprisingly easy, as if it's as easy as breathing for him to complete it. No doubt, after the picture at this moment, the emotions in Nagato and Konan's hearts became more solemn. At this time, looking at Uchiha Obito here from a distance, a triumphant smile appeared under the mask. Choosing to cooperate with Shu Yi is indeed right. This fox ghost, just like a few years ago, it is still strong. The Rinnegan capture plan this time, it is estimated to be stable. Obito held his chest in his hands and watched leisurely like a theater. At this time, ahead, the storm gradually subsided. The fox ghost Qing Yu throws the scrapped strange wrist to the ground at will. Puff. Afterwards, he raised his eyes and looked at Pain ahead. He casually placed it on the handle of the knife, and then slowly pulled out the white blade from his waist. Looking forward, he chuckled and said, "Oh two, it seems that it's my turn to rendezvous." Crescent Moon Sky Chong. The moment the voice fell, on the white blade in his hand, a flame like moonlight started to ignite. Immediately afterwards, he lifted the knife calmly and swung it down gently. Base. In the next moment, all the moon-white rays of light suddenly gathered together, and from the tip of the knife that was swinging down, they went in and out. Boom. A terrifying crescent-shaped slash burst out in an instant. With the overwhelming aura, it suddenly covered Pen's 6 paths over here. Seeing this picture, Nagato's pupils suddenly shrank. What kind of attack is this? Why, hardly notice the fluctuation of chakra. But what is going on with such a powerful sense of oppression? While the heart is contracting, it's too late to think about it. Nagato gritted his teeth and quickly controlled the 5 pens in Joguo, leaping away suddenly. Finally, only a fat pen was left standing in the middle. He raised his hands with a sullen expression, his palms were facing the crescent moon rushing forward, and he seemed to be ready to face this attack. That's right, Nagato plans to fight it. This one is pen called Hungry Keto. Possessing a powerful ability called Seal of Sealing, you only need to pass through the chakra cycle in the reverse rotation body, and you can inhale the skills of your opponent in front of you. Then, the inhaled chakra will dissipate in the body, as if sinking into a bottomless swamp, all the power will be absorbed. Moreover, the ability of this technique has nothing to do with the nature of chakra. Now, although Nagato felt the crescent attack in front of him was a bit strange, he still wanted to try it. Advertisement, it's too late to say, then it's fast. Between electric light and flint, that huge white crescent shockwave instantly hit the hands of the hungry Keto Pain ahead. However, the picture that appeared next did not absorb the technique as Konan and Pain had imagined. Not only did it not absorb, even the hungry Keto Pain himself was completely swallowed by this terrifying crescent slash, and he flew straight away. Boom. His body was like a cannonball fired out, and was instantly blasted to the distant hills, and there was no movement. In the smoke and dust, there was only the sound of rainstorms all over the sky. And at this moment, Nagato and Konan's pupils tightened again. What happened? Hungry, Keto's sealing technique, sucking seal, failed? Is it possible that the attack this guy just used is not made of chakra at all? Realizing this, Nagato was stunned for a while. Although he felt the weirdness of that crescent attack just now, he did not expect such a result at all. At this time, the fox ghost on the opposite side made a chuckle and said, "Sorry, our Suya Palace technique is not so easy to crack." The voice fell, he raised the knife in his hand again. It seemed that he was ready to release the crescent attack just now again. Seeing this picture, Nagato and Konan naturally felt bad. Next moment, almost at the same time, the eyes of the two of them sank instantly, and at the same time they launched an attack and moved towards the fox ghost. Konan's face is extremely solemn, although Nagato had told her not to make a move before. But at the moment, she couldn't just ignore it. In just a few short seconds, Shira Dao and Hungry Keto have eaten thin one after another. This situation is really not optimistic, and it will be too late if you don't make a move. Therefore, she immediately launched her signature ninjutsu-style paper dance. I saw in the air, countless paper spears and paper shurikens suddenly appeared, and the next moment, like a rainstorm, they all shot towards the fox ghost ahead. Boom. The extremely violent attack power and extremely fast attack speed, coupled with the detonation talisman, instantly blow up the entire area including the fox ghost. As the storm was raging, smoke and dust continued, completely overwhelming the body of the fox ghost. And at this moment, Nagato on the other side is also not idle, his face is gloomy and he controls the Shira Dao pen and the human Dao pen, and instantly attacks towards the front at the same time. As the two most adept at close combat in 6 Paths Pain, their role hardly needs to be said. There are countless endurance tools hidden in the body of Shira Dao Pain. As long as you touch the enemy at close range, you can easily complete the sneak attack task in unexpected situations. Even if the opponent has defensive means, it is difficult to be so close. React to. The role of human path pen is even simpler. As one of Rinnegan's 6 paths abilities, he controls memory and soul. Just touch the palm of your hand to the top of the opponent's head, and you can instantly activate the power to extract the soul. And as long as the opponent's soul is pulled out of the body, it will die on the spot. It can be said to be a magical skill, therefore. The tactical purpose of Nagato's operation, in fact, it is to allow Shira Dao Pain to contain the fox ghost, and at the same time to let the human Dao Pain unexpectedly extract the soul. After all, even if a person's body is strong, as long as there is no soul, he still has to burp. Nagato, who has been on the battlefield, knows this very well. But in fact, what he didn't know was, Qing Yu's soul is actually far stronger than his body. Of course, this is something later. Now, while controlling the 2 pen rushing towards the fox ghost. Of course, Nagato didn't stop there, but at the same time controlled the Hell Road pen, instantly rushing towards the distant hills. After all, Kido, who was just hungry, was scrapped on the spot because of the Crescent slash. Only the Hades summoned through hell can recover quickly. The remaining Heavenly Dao Pain and Beast Dao Pain still stand in the center of the battlefield and are in charge of controlling the field. Seeing this picture, Obito, who was watching from a distance, raised his eyes slightly. One to say one, even he himself rarely saw Pen's 6 paths fighting together. Advertisement unexpectedly, Nagato's control over Rinnegan could reach this level, and it did not humiliate the eyes of these immortals. At this time, the Shira Dao Pen and Human Dao Pen in the front similarly rushed into the explosion smoke caused by Konan, trying to get close to the fox ghost. With Rinnegan's sight-sharing ability, they launched a surprise attack one after another. I saw Shira Dao Pain tearing up his clothes, instantly revealing a strong body, and then immediately deformed, and countless mechanical weapons appeared in an instant, a huge iron rod and a sharp saw blade, directly facing with the fox ghost Qing Yu attacking frontally. At the rear, Human Dao Pain squinted his eyes, instantly raised his hand, tried to reach the top of the fox ghost, and wanted to draw the soul directly to end the battle in the first instant. Although it is complicated, but in fact, all these actions happened in just 1 second. Nagato's control of Pen is very proficient, and Isshin has done all this quickly. Because he understands, facing an enemy with such a weird strength. Only by winning at the fastest speed can casualties be avoided with the least. Therefore, he did not hesitate to move. Even the Heavenly Dao Pain here is ready to release his own tricks at any time. However, at the next moment, outrageous things happened. I saw 2 dull voices suddenly heard in the smoke ahead. Tong. Boom. It was like the sound of a collision between some heavy objects, and even a sound similar to something torn apart. And the next moment, suddenly, boom. I saw that in the explosion smoke ahead, 2 Pen's figures suddenly flew out of it. Just like a cannonball, it also blasted directly to the distant hills. And all of this, from entering the smoke to flying out, even half a second is not used. Seeing this picture, Konan's face suddenly changed for a while, and he was directly stunned. The moment her breathing stopped involuntarily, she was terrified. 060 Since there is no Rinnegan's vision, he certainly didn't see what was happening in the smoke. Because of this, it was very shocking. What happened? That moment just now, what happened? However, at this moment, what she doesn't know is. The Nagato of 6 paths pen was being controlled in the distance. After seeing this picture, the brain was directly confused. Although he has Rinnegan's vision, it is reasonable to see the content in the smoke, but from beginning to end, he didn't even see what happened. Only vaguely saw the opposite Qing Yu seem to raise his hand, and then, the 2 pens seemed to have encountered an invisible air cannon, and they flew out in an instant. What's so special however, not waiting for him to react slowly. You can see, on the hills in the distance, Hungry, Kido and Hell Dao had just walked out, when they were hit by the Human Dao and Shira Dao flying in the distance. Boom. The 4 panes slammed into each other violently, and went straight into the hill. The sky is full of smoke and dust, and the rain is endless. In an instant, the audience was silent. Not to mention Konan and Nagato, even Obito on the side was stunned. This is a bit too accurate, right? When the time comes, it is no longer possible to judge whether he was deliberate or accidental. Everyone was stunned. At this time, ahead, the fox ghost walked out of the smoke unscathed. While stepping forward leisurely, he casually waved the white blade in his hand. The gaze looked at Heavenly Dao Pain ahead, with a chuckle. The round of miscellaneous fish should be over for the time being, then, it's the protagonist's turn. However, his voice just fell. I saw Heavenly Dao Pain's face suddenly sinking, suddenly raised his hand, almost without hesitation, he condensed and shouted. Shen Luo Dian Zheng, Spicy Heavenly Stuff. Chapter 213 Must Kill Series Crescent Phase Rush, Seeking Subscription. Advertisement in the rainstorm, looking at the approach of the fox ghost ahead. Heavenly Dao Pain suddenly gave a cold sigh, and finally launched his own special skill. Shenluo Tianzheng, the transcendence technique that controls the power of repulsion. One of the special ninjutsu given by Rinnegan's blood succession boundary. You only need to focus on chakra, and you can focus on yourself and bounce everything outside of your body. Unlike shockwaves, this is a special all-round repulsive force, which can resist almost all attacks close to oneself, and it can also be used as a powerful attack. Whether it's trees or boulders, or even rivers and hills, it is released with Nagato's powerful chakra, and it can all be blown away with a single shot of Shenluo Tianzheng. At this moment, seeing the approach of the fox ghost, Nagato naturally used this trick without hesitation. I saw his hands facing the fox ghost approaching in front of him, and his eyes flickered, chakra fluctuated rapidly, and in an instant, the invisible repulsive force spread to the surroundings instantly. When he saw this picture, even Konan on the side couldn't help but his face changed slightly. He immediately used Shing Yu to quickly evacuate to the side. After all, this Shenluo Tianjung technique is not a single attack, but a real range ninjutsu. Even she, standing within the range, will inevitably be affected. And at this moment, all the torrential rain around it seemed that at this moment, it was directly emptied by the spreading repulsive force in an instant. The fox ghost on the opposite side was instantly covered by the repulsive force. However, next moment, a picture that stunned everyone present appeared. I saw the fox ghost in front, still standing leisurely on the spot, holding a white knife, standing still. However, the heavenly Dao Pen who performed the spell on this side, but suddenly. Boom! It actually flew out. On his body, Shao robe was directly shattered, and even the rain shinobi ninja forehead protector worn on his forehead was instantly shattered. And his body, like a kite with a broken wire, fell directly onto the ground in the distance. Seeing this weird picture, at this moment, let alone Konan, it was Uchiha Obito who was watching the game from a distance. His pupils shrank and he was directly stunned. What's the matter with this TM? Heavenly Dao Pen who released Shenluo Tianjung, actually flew out by himself. And, was it directly injured? After seeing this incredible picture. In an instant, the thoughts of the two of them were directly interrupted, and they were forced on the spot. Can't understand. Obviously, the fox ghost on the opposite side looks unprepared. But, after being hit by the repulsive wave, it was completely okay? Instead, Pen here was blown away by the reaction force brought about by the repulsive force? The heavy rain gathered again and the world was silent. Konan turned his head back stiffly, and turned his head again to look at Heavenly Dao Pain who was blasted out over there. Tiandao, as a puppet under the control of Nagato Rinnegan, is basically equal to an immortal existence. Therefore, she is certainly not worried about Pain's injury. But worrying about Nagato. Since even the strongest Shenluo Tianjung can have a slight influence on that fox ghost, how can he fight next? Do you count on Shira Dao Pain's frenzied bombing? Impossible just now. The wrist of Shira Road's long-range rocket was easily squeezed, and less than a second after close combat, it was blown off. Counting on the extraction of the soul of Pen on the human world? It's even more impossible. He doesn't even have a chance to connect with the near fox ghost. Not to mention the hungry Kido. Absorbing chakra's ability, under this fox ghost's weird slash, it can't do anything at all. It's just like NM is opened and hung up in at this time. What she didn't know was, at Akatsuki's base in the distance, Pen's Nagato was being controlled remotely. At this moment, he was also slightly stunned. His pupils shrank slightly, and his breathing was involuntarily stuck. What's going on this man? What kind of terrifying power does the master have? Nagato couldn't help feeling cold behind his back. Such a terrifying opponent in his fighting career in the past 10 years, he has never seen anyone. Even the strongest legendary ninja, the demigod Hanzo of the Salamander. In front of Six Paths Pen under the control of Rinnegan, he will also become vulnerable. And now this white sword fox ghost from Suya Palace. But it was unscathed at all, advertisement from beginning to end. He's as leisurely as if he's taking a walk, damn it. Is this the strength of the legendary Suya Palace fox ghost? Thinking of this, Nagato couldn't help gritting his teeth tightly. He has realized it, although from beginning to end, the fox ghost on the opposite side didn't make a lot of moves. But, every time I shot, I almost destroyed a Pain accurately. And they are all crushed. Whether it is Shira Dao, Hungry Kido or Human World Dao, they have not survived even a round. And now, even the Heavenly Dao Pen, who was the main body and backbone, was also directly blasted by the reaction force of the Shenluo Tianjung just now. What's more, what horrified Nagato's heart is that the reactionary repulsion just now seems to have been strengthened by a certain force, far beyond the level of his previous release. Among them, there is definitely some unknown force hidden. This moment, a sense of awe appeared in Nagato's heart after a long time. This is a strange feeling that has never been felt since the establishment of the new Akatsuki. And he also began to realize, we must find a way to find the weakness of the fox ghost. Otherwise, it is impossible to defeat him at all. Thought of here, Nagato suddenly sank his heart and gritted his teeth. It seems that the only way to fight with the animal is try to see if you can use up the summoning beast of the summoning technique to drain the opponent's stamina. While thinking, Nagato's heart sank immediately, and he began to control the beast Dao Pen. To be honest, at the beginning, he really didn't think of using the beast Dao Pen. After all, his ability is more suitable for large-scale combat. Faced with a single enemy, there is no need to use it. But now, there is no way. If you don't use it anymore, it is probably useless. And now, he intends to use it. It is the masterpiece of beast Dao Pen amplification summoning technique. This is a summoning technique with special conditions attached. When summoning objects are summoned, they are given conditions such as will proliferate as soon as they are attacked. In the next battle, as long as this condition is triggered, the summoning beast will automatically activate the proliferation technique, 1 divided by 2, 2 divided by 4. With the enemy's attack, the number will continue to increase, so as to carry out an endless attack on the enemy. In order to achieve the purpose of annihilating the enemy or draining the opponent's physical strength. It's too late to say, then fast, under the torrential rain, I saw Dao Pen, a long-haired beast on the side, instantly starting to seal, and his hands pressed to the ground. The black spell formation instantly stretched out from under his palms. Then, he heard him scream in a low voice, summoning technique, amplifying ground. However, before he finished speaking, at this moment, the mutation happened suddenly. I saw the fox ghost who was still standing in front of him, his body suddenly turned into an afterimage and disappeared directly in place. Base. And the next moment, he turned out to be like a ghost, appearing directly behind the beast Dao Pain. The raging storm even cut off the surrounding rainstorm layer like a sword. And immediately, without hesitation, he swung the knife straight down. Boom. The white light of the moon instantly rushed out of the blade, like a monstrous flame, completely covering the figure of the animal Dao and directly engulfing it. Puffed. The sound of a violent explosion came, and the white flames rose into the sky, destroying everything around. And this beast Dao Pain, the summoning technique in his hand has not been released at all, and chakra is completely interrupted. After a while, the moon-white flame faded, and the beast Dao Pain's body was lying on the ground. Stopped motionlessly. From beginning to end, no summoning beast appeared. The scene fell into a dead silence again. Whether it was Konan or Nagato, at this moment, they were all stunned. They never thought of it anyway. Advertisement: the fox ghost who was still passively attacked just now suddenly took the initiative and interrupted the summoning technique of the beast Dao Pain. He even blasted him to death with a single sword and... What's the matter with that weird speed? This is the Shun Shen technique. No, it's not right. How could there be this instantaneous technique that has reached this point? This is simply faster than that Qing Yu's Wuyan instant body. It seems, the plan to use the summoning beast to drain his energy is also undesirable. Next, there is only one last way, thought of here. Heavenly Dao Pain stood up in the distance, his eyes shrank slightly, he must try it, the final possibility of winning. Suddenly, he raised his hands and suddenly put his palms together. Stare. Between the palms, horrible chakra fluctuations began to appear suddenly, and then even a few traces of black aura began to overflow. The next moment, when his palms were separated, between his palms, a black chakra ball appeared directly. The terrifying power seems to have caused the surrounding space to vibrate. And the next moment, Pain's eyes sank, and his face was extremely solemn and he let out a low voice. Earth explosion skystar. Suddenly, the black ball that he saw with both hands suddenly flew high above the sky, and then hovered above the head of the fox ghost Shing Yu. Next moment, boom, I saw all the rain and wind around, as if it had been invisible, and it started to gather towards the black ball in an instant. Even the ground below began to peel off continuously, and began to gather in the opposite direction towards the black ball above the sky. The momentum is huge, like the end of the world. When you see this picture and feel the gravity from the body again. Even Obito, who was watching the battle from a distance, couldn't help but suddenly his face change. Fox Ghost. This guy's ultimate move is coming. It's the Planetary Devastation, I told you before, be careful. After speaking, he suddenly released Kamui directly, and instantly jumped in space, pulling his distance farther. In less than a second, it was directly out of the gravitational range of Planetary Devastation. The essence of persuasion is exposed, however, next moment. The situation that made Obito and Nagato regret at the same time reappeared. I saw the front, when countless rock and soil blocks peeled off the ground and were drawn into the air by gravity. The fox ghost in front of them was still standing still. He seems to be still, not affected by the slightest gravitational pull. Seeing this picture, this, of the king's, moment. Everyone is stupid. This TM. However, what they don't know is. At this moment, the fox ghost Qing Yu opposite, under the mask, suddenly showed a soft smile. Spray, after waiting for a long time, this trick finally came. And in his mind, the continuous beep of the system suddenly began to sound. Ding! Congratulations to host. The side mission has been completed. Meet the Heavenly Path Pen Rinnegan Shinra Tianjung. 1/1. Completed. Reward. Ryatsu plus 6000. Hollow Experience plus 2000. Mul Points plus 1000. Meet the Heavenly Path Pen Rinnegan Planetary Devastation. 1/1. Completed. Reward. Ryatsu plus 800. Hollow Experience plus 300. Mul Points plus 200. I saw Heavenly Dao Pen Rinnegan Universal Pull. 1/1. Not completed. The reward is unknown. Now it seems, since he has already started to use the ultimate big move Planetary Devastation, it seems unlikely to use Universal Pull. In other words, next, it seems that there is no need to release the sea again. Thought of here, Shing Yu smiled and raised the knife in his hand. While raising his eyes to look at the growing black Planetary Devastation in the sky, he spoke casually. This is the end of the fun. Killing series, Crescent Moon Phase Rush. Chapter 214. This TM is also called a ninja? It's a fight between gods. Advertisement, seeking subscription, under the violent wind of gravity. The figure of the fox ghost Qing Yu still stands still. And above the blade in his hand, after the voice fell, a moon-white light gradually began to appear again. Then, a strange picture appeared. Around him. A dozen of the same white knife shadows suddenly appeared at the same time, as bright as moonlight, slowly shining with bright light. And at the moment, after hearing the name's extremely long moves, Uchiha Obito, who was struggling in the distance, suddenly had a question mark on his face. What's the situation? After the previous, Crescent Moon Rush, and Crescent Moon Series Sky Rush, there is a special series of Crescent Phase Rush. What a trick to eat fresh all over the sky, but Even thinking about it, of course he wouldn't take the fox ghost's moves lightly anymore. After all, although he always seems to use the same tricks. However, different names have far different powers. Just like the Crescent Moon Sky Chong when he chopped Uchiha Itachi, it cannot be compared with the serious Sky Chong when he chopped Konoha Shuangji later. Moreover, it seems that the longer the name, the higher the attack power. The current Crescent phase is fierce, no name, just looking at the posture, the power will inevitably be far above the serious Sky. I don't know. Next, Nagato's Planetary Devastation, can it withstand it? Obito narrowed his eyes slightly, staring solemnly. If next, the slash of the Fox Ghost destroys Planetary Devastation, then the so-called Six Paths pen will be completely defeated. They just need to snatch Nagato's Sharingan before the other Akatsuki members come back, and the plan is successful. In other words, the success or failure of this plan basically depends on this. It's too late to say, then it's fast. I saw the whole body of the Fox Ghost, and the dozens of white blade shadows gradually became more and more solid, and in the end, it seemed to become a solid blade. And he just waved the blade in his hand calmly, base. The sword light plundered, and the other wind sounded. Next moment, boom. Countless majestic white flames, accompanied by a dozen white knife shadows, suddenly rushed towards the planetary devastation above 060. The sound of countless swords and halberds trembling, at this moment, almost overwhelmed the sound of the earth's cracking caused by the surrounding gravitational waves. That violent sword pressure, like a wild beast, rushed violently, covering everyone present. In just a moment, the pale flame of the sword quickly expanded with a prairie fire, and finally, it completely enveloped the entire planetary devastation sphere. After seeing this picture clearly, whether it was Nagato or Konan, they were completely stunned. This, however, at this moment, they couldn't help thinking about it. The sound of the explosion that came in a flash, suddenly exploded in the white flame. Boom. I saw the planetary devastation in the sky, the huge rocks that were originally attracted by the chakra black ball, at this moment, all of them collapsed in an instant. Flying sand and rocks filled the sky, and countless rocks splashed down like meteors. Boom. Boom. The monstrous power is like a volcanic eruption. And in the end, when the surrounding rock layers all collapsed, the black sphere in the center was exposed. That is, the core of planetary devastation, and at this moment, the majestic white flame in the sky instantly recondensed into the shape of a crescent, without the slightest stay, and continued to slash towards the black ball. The pale color is like dividing the world, immediately after. Accompanied by a deafening blast. Bang! The black ball that attracts everything, and the white moon that cut everything, shattered at the same time in the moment of contact. Boom! The invisible storm suddenly spread towards the surroundings, resounding like thunder in the sky of the entire Rain Shinobi village. After seeing this picture, Heavenly Dao Pain on the ground froze in an instant. His thoughts were directly interrupted, and his brain went blank almost instantly. What happened? My planetary devastation was actually chopped down? Nagato's pupils froze tightly. Since he, ACEG, first mastered Rinnegan and Pen Six Paths, he has never seen such an outrageous picture. What is going on with this man in Suya Palace? Advertisement. Why, he seems to be completely immune to Rinnegan's power. From beginning to end, the power of Six Paths Pain did not affect him in the slightest. On the contrary, as long as he makes a move, it will definitely be a fatal blow. Such a terrifying combat power, simply unheard of. Is it really still human? Nagato's back was chilling, staring at the fox ghost ahead, feeling an inexplicable chill. Could it be that this is a real strength gap that comes from above dimensions? This moment, Nagato can't even think normally, and Konan on the side. Also staring at this side in horror with the same eyes, the waves in my heart are raging. Can't understand this as a power that is simply incomprehensible. Obviously, it seems to be a casual knife, except for the fancy name, there is not even any fancy moves. But with such a knife, Nagato's planetary devastation was hacked effortlessly. Konan's heart was shocked. Of course she knows that this is Nagato's ultimate tactic, and it is generally not easy to use at all. Even in the past 10 years, he hasn't used it much. But I didn't expect now, it was directly destroyed as soon as it was used. How can I fight this? No wonder the masked man Obito returned to Rain Shinobi village with such confidence. It turned out that it was precisely because of the horrible support of a fox ghost? Konan gritted his teeth slightly. The development of things is far worse than he imagined. Original, she still felt in her heart, even if Nagato can't beat him, after Qing Yu returns to Rain Shinobi village, he can win as long as he cooperates. But now, after personally feeling the pressure of this terrifying attack, she suddenly became a little uncertain. Can anyone really defeat the fox ghost of the Suya Palace? The storm roared and the black rain swayed. Just as the battle between Suya Palace and Akatsuki in the southwest was underway. Now, the other side of Rain Shinobi village, on an abandoned high iron building, there is a figure, gazing firmly at the distant picture. That's right. Of course he is the #1 scientist in the ninja world, Orochimaru. Since he came to Rain Shinobi village to help Qing Yu report the true identity of the masked man Uchiha Obito. He has been forced to stay in Rain Shinobi village. According to Pain, he can only be allowed to leave after their Tail Beast project is over. So as to prevent him from leaking Akatsuki's information to the outside world. No way. In the absence of Qing Yu's opinion, Orochimaru of course could only do so. And today, he was originally studying the scroll in his hand. Suddenly, he heard the sound of explosion like fireworks from a distance. Out of curiosity, Orochimaru naturally sneaked out immediately, wanting to see what was going on. Result: coincidentally, as soon as he came out, he happened to see the scene of the fox ghost appearing in the southwest direction. And, standing beside the fox ghost, a figure wearing a mask of evil wolf, also wearing white clothes. After seeing this picture, Orochimaru was instantly stunned. What happened? That person is the fox ghost of Suya Palace? What about the remaining one, wolf ghost, this? Why did the members of Suya Palace suddenly appear in Akatsuki's base, Rain Shinobi village? Of course Orochimaru looked dumbfounded, after all. During this period of time, he has been staying in Rain Shinobi village, and he didn't know that there was news that the Night Palace appeared in the desert of the Wind Country. Advertisement therefore, we will not think about, counterfeiting. What's more, the oppressive feeling on that fox ghost was so familiar to him that it could not be a disguise at all. Then, he leaned in immediately, trying to see what was going on. Result: after this close, when he saw the picture before him clearly, he became even more confused. What is the situation with this TM on the opposite side? This so many members of the Akatsuki organization that I haven't met? Except for the leader Tiandao Pain, what the hell are the other 5? And, what's the matter with this weird similarity? 6 pennies? Orochimaru froze directly on the spot. Although at the beginning, he had vaguely felt that Pain seemed a bit similar to a puppet, not a normal living body. However, there is still no evidence to prove it, but now, when he saw 6 similar figures with his own eyes, he was still a little horrified inevitably. Until a long time later, O began to calm down again. However, before he was calm for a while, what happened next made Orochimaru even more confused. I only saw over there, I don't know what the two sides said. Suddenly, the two sides started to fight. A certain Pain on this side first released his wrist and flew out to attack like a sneak attack. On the opposite side, the fox ghost is as usual, using his own skill Crescent Moon Sky Chong. Both you come and I go, one round after another, the battle will not stop. And the vision around them, from the beginning of the gusty wind, to the collapse of the mountain behind, the sun and the moon are dark. Attacked one by one, Orochimaru almost finished watching in a completely sluggish state. This TM is also called a ninja? It's just NM fairy fighting, okay? However, what horrified Orochimaru even more, the always powerful Rinnegan controller, the Pain of the Akatsuki organization, was completely crushed and beaten by the Vulture Palace Fox Ghost on the opposite side. From beginning to end, it didn't even occupy any advantage. It is simply a big spectrum from the world, after a moment of shock. Orochimaru immediately frowned deeply again, his face solemn. It seems, something is wrong logically speaking. With Qing Yu's character, it seems that he would not attack Shao organization. And, in the past so many years, it seems that he has never mentioned the plan of Suya Palace to attack Akatsuki. Could it be that, this fox ghost's attack was not his instruction? Aware of this, Orochimaru was shocked instantly and thought it was very possible. Then, he decided to notify Qing Yu immediately, after all. Shu Yi Gong vs Shao, this is no small matter. Once a certain ring goes wrong, it is very likely to affect the various plans behind Qing Yu in the ninja world, and cannot be left alone. However, just when Orochimaru was about to use his own props, suddenly, the mutation happened. I saw the sky in the distance. A huge clay bird appeared in an instant, and immediately afterwards, it immediately swooped towards the low altitude here. After seeing the two figures on the white bird, Orochimaru immediately had a heartbreak. And many more, that is Deidara and Shing Yu? He is back. Chapter 215. Although it's a little late, I'm back for subscription. Advertisement. When the white wings of the clay flicked through the air. In an instant, it seems that the entire Rain Shinobi village has suddenly become much quieter, NS. The storm calmed down, the showers are extinguishing. At the same time, the familiar and powerful golden pupil coercion seemed to spread over the sky in an instant, directly covering Orochimaru's body. This moment, Orochimaru's pupils suddenly shrank, and his heart shook quickly. What happened? Master Qing Yu released coercion on me. What's the meaning? Orochimaru felt a little regretful in his heart. After all, since then, after he joined the Suya Palace camp, I never encountered the time when Qing Yu released the coercion on himself. Instead, it's at this time of Suya Palace versus Shao. Could it be that is he reminding me? Orochimaru frowned and thought quickly. Try to figure out the current situation, but at this moment, Deidara's white bird flew directly over his head without stopping. And from beginning to end, Qing Yu above the white bird all carried the same leisurely expression as before, without the slightest change. There is no accident, no surprise, no anger, as every moment ever. It seemed that he didn't even know the fox ghost that appeared over there. After seeing this picture, Orochimaru was naturally confused. However, just when he wanted to go up and explore. But suddenly he thought of the pressure from Qing Yu's eyes just now. Could it be that the look in Qing Yu-sama's eyes just now reminds me not to act casually? Aware of this, Orochimaru's heart suddenly shuddered, thinking it was very possible. Then, he immediately put aside the curiosity in his heart, hid it again, and continued to watch the distant picture. And at the moment, above the southwest of Rain Shinobi village, under the black rain, the two sides still stood facing each other. Only silence is left. Just after the fox ghost used a trick, Crescent phase rush, Pen's Planetary Devastation was directly destroyed. Now, all around are broken ruins, as after the end of the catastrophe. However, this moment, whether it was Nagato, who was controlling Pen, or Konan, who was waiting on the sidelines, naturally all were dumbfounded. Their brains have almost lost the ability to think. This strength to them, it is completely a fantasy. Even though Nagato has released his most powerful trick, he still insists on it for no more than 5 seconds. How do you fight this? Even if they want to continue fighting now, they will never win. Because, this man wearing a fox ghost mask, there is no weakness at all. His defensive power is enough to easily block Hell Pain's rocket wrist, and he can also carry Conan's paper shuriken and detonation talisman without injury, as solid as a rock. His speed of action is so fast that even Rinnegan can't catch it clearly, and even faster than the speed of the animal Daupen's seal, as fast as a gust of wind. And his attack power, not to mention. Sword Beiwi slashed, directly ignoring Hungry Kido Pain's sealing technique to kill him in seconds, and, with just one stab, directly destroyed Heavenly Pain's ultimate move Planetary Devastation. Based on the above horrible performance, with this kind of comprehensive strength, they couldn't find a second person in the entire ninja world at present. Perhaps, advertisement there are only the 2 legendary ninjas. Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara can have this degree of power. Thought of here, Nagato and Konan couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. They looked at the gaze of the fox ghost, and they also began to be full of more horror and fear. But in the meanwhile, they can't figure it out at all. Why did such a powerful ninja with terrifying power choose to cooperate with that Uchiha Obito to attack Akatsuki? Obviously they didn't have any intersection or conflict in the past. It seems that Uchiha Obito has set the game. When the two were silent, suddenly, from behind the fox ghost, Obito wearing a white mask suddenly came here. Afterwards, while walking towards this side, he smiled slightly and said with his usual low voice. Only, Nagato, Konan, look at your expressions. It seems that you have begun to understand how powerful the power of the Shuyi Palace is. Uchiha Obito was showing off like a child, and at the same time, using his Sharingan, he looked at this side contemptuously. At this moment, of course his heart was extremely excited. I chose to cooperate with Suya Palace sure enough. The battle that just ended, it's just the unilateral crushing victory of the Fox Ghost. Whether it is speed or strength, he completely surpasses Nagato, who has the so-called Rinnegan, Eye of the Immortal. Before coming, although Obito's heart probably thinks that the Fox Ghost can win. But I didn't expect it at all, he would win so thoroughly. Now, the plan to capture Rinnegan is completely as stable as an old dog. Even if that Qing Yu rushed back to save the field immediately, Obito wouldn't be imaginary at all. Fox ghosts are definitely the strongest existence. Thought of here, Obito suddenly turned his head slightly and looked at the fox ghost here. Next, we will then, boom. His voice was just talking about normal, and suddenly, a sudden change occurred. I saw a loud sound like thunder that shook the ears of the sky in the distance. Immediately after the next moment, suddenly, a golden beam of thunder and lightning instantly shredded the darkness of the sky, fell from the sky and burst into it. Boom. The majestic sound like a dragon roar, along with the majestic thunder and lightning that exploded, blasted down at the fox ghost and Uchiha Obito here in an instant. In an instant, the entire world seemed to be dyed into a golden color, extremely radiant. And that majestic coercion is instantly like Kunlun. Seeing this sudden picture, for a moment. Whether it was Uchiha Obito, Nagato and Konan, all pupils shrank suddenly, and his face changed suddenly. This, golden lightning style, this familiar coercion and breath is Qing Yu. Aware of this, Nagato and Konan couldn't help but burst into joy at the same time. However, Uchiha Obito in front of him suddenly looked hard to look at. This TM. What happened? This guy hasn't appeared yet, so TM started attacking directly? Damn it. Obito gritted his teeth instantly, his eyes sinking sharply, it was too late to think about it. Kamui. He immediately activated Mangekyo's Sharingan and put himself into the hollow state. On the side, the fox ghost's figure also flashed, disappearing in the same place in an instant, appearing in the distance. At this time, the golden lightning beam also happened to hit the ground. Boom. The sound like an explosion blew up. The entire land of Rain Shinobi Village was shaken by this thunder and lightning in an instant. The surging thunder and lightning were like boiling, burning the ground below until it was charred, and finally slowly subsided. At this time, the huge clay white bird suddenly flew over a few people. At the same time, above the white bird, advertisement. Then suddenly came the voice of a surprised young man. Wow 0. Seeking flowers. Senior, your post, fiery lightning hell. The power seems to be stronger than before, This voice is naturally Deidara. And after his voice fell, above the white bird, suddenly there was another clear voice, leisurely and authentic. The eyesight is pretty good. Keep one-tailed Jinchuriki, Deidara. Okay. After a short conversation, a brown-haired figure wearing a red cloud and black robe, instantly jumped forward, calmly leapt from the white bird, and fell to the ground. The dust is everywhere, but the clothes are not stained. The breeze blew and gently lifted his brown hair, revealing his handsome face. It is Qing Yu. Seeing this picture, Uchiha Obito's face suddenly sank in the distance. Through the simple lightning style just now, he knew that he still couldn't despise this Qing Yu too much. Sure enough, he should be solved with the help of the fox ghost. However, on this side, what he didn't know was, under the mask of the fox ghost in the distance, a faint smile appeared on Shing Yu's face. Because he knows, now, it's time for the real good show to start. Same, it's also time for acting, at this time. 0. After a long silence, Obito in the distance suddenly spoke, and said solemnly. Humph. The spoiler seems to have appeared, his words. In an instant, the silence of the presence was broken. And what he meant, of course, it is to hint that the fox ghost on the side is about to start preparing to deal with the Qing Yu that appears in front of him. However, at this moment, after hearing his words, the spirit skeleton here, Qing Yu, didn't intend to pay any attention to him at all. Instead, he raised his eyes leisurely, looked back at Tiandao Pain and Konan, and then grinned slightly and smiled. Although this seems to be a bit late. But, I'm back. After seeing this familiar golden pupil and smile. In an instant, both Konan and Nagato were slightly startled, and then they couldn't help showing some helpless expressions. Really, no matter when this Qing Yu is always so calm and calm. As if everything is a small matter, but what they know very well is. The opponent this time is different from any previous opponent. It is far beyond the existence of the ninja dimension. Even if it is strong Qing Yu, it is impossible to defeat the opponent as easily as before. Even, it is also very likely to be counter-killed. Therefore, even if he came, the hearts of the two of them were temporarily unhappy, and they were still very solemn. After a while, Nagato spoke with a complex expression, and through the mouth of Heavenly Dao Pain, he said solemnly. Be careful, Shing Yu. The guy wearing the wolf mask as the Uchiha belt after a makeover. And this time, he seemed to have brought that fox ghost in order to attack Akatsuki. Yes, it was the fox ghost who easily defeated Fourth Kazekage in Qing Yu City in the Land of Fire. My power is almost completely useless to him, so, even you who have the true eyes of the evil king. Nor should it be taken lightly, speaking of which. Heavenly Dao Pain suddenly paused for a while, and then lowered his eyes, silent for a while in an unprecedented complex tone, before he condensed heavily. This time, I have to ask you. Qing Yu, Chapter 216 The long-awaited scene, Fox Ghost vs. Qing Yu, seeking subscription. Advertisement. The heavy voice fell, just like a huge drum hit by a heavy hammer, it exploded in Konan's heart in an instant. I saw her pupils shrink suddenly, and she was startled involuntarily. This what happened. Did Nagato take the initiative to beg Qing Yu for help? Konan naturally regretted it, for more than 10 years. This is more than 10 years, Nagato said such words for the first time. Similarly, it was also the first time he took the initiative to ask other people for help. In the past, no matter what kind of opponent or predicament Akatsuki encounters, Nagato can always use his eyes of immortals to turn dangers into bargaining power and turn defeat into victory. Therefore, there has never been any entrustment to anyone. Even the masked man is the same, and today, but for the first time, he asked Shing Yu. For a time, Konan couldn't help but feel like a world away. This young man who has always called himself a god, finally, has begun to believe in other people? Konan thought so in his heart. Looking at Shing Yu's eyes, he couldn't help being full of splendor. However, at this moment, what she didn't know was. Of course, the reason why Nagato said such words is not entirely because of trust. But because, he sensed hope, original, before Qing Yu appeared. He has nothing to do with the enemy wearing a fox ghost mask. Even if he tried his best, Rinnegan couldn't hurt the opponent at all. Even Konan's detonating talisman and paper escape also failed to affect him even the slightest. However, even if 060 is like this, he still noticed keenly. Just before Qing Yu appeared, when the golden lightning style fell from the sky and blasted towards Obito and the fox ghost. Something strange happened. The fox ghost, who had always been very arrogant. It dodges unexpectedly. That's right, he did not directly use his body to resist the attacks of Pain and Konan before. Instead, he used the body flicker technique directly to avoid it in the first time. What does this show? It's only possible to explain when he didn't dare to take Qing Yu's attack head-on. That's why dodge is used for the first time, because this is the instinct of life. Aware of this, a glimmer of hope naturally began to rise in Nagato's heart. Maybe there is a chance to win, therefore, he will ask Qing Yu for help at this special moment. After all, Shao organization finally got to this point. He didn't want to burn all his more than 10 years of hard work. Now, I can only look forward to the battle of Qing Yu. The black rain is still swaying all over the world. On this side, after Qing Yu heard Pain's words, he couldn't help but raised his eyebrows, then chuckled lightly. Give it to me. Words fall, he turned around again leisurely and looked at the fox ghost ahead. The four eyes are facing each other. A faint smile suddenly appeared in Qing Yu's heart. What he will do next, it's very simple. You only need to repel the fox ghost in front of the few people present, and this time the battle of Suya Palace versus Shao can be successfully concluded. As for Uchiha Obito, it's easier, thought of here. Qing Yu slowly put his hand on the black knife on his waist, and then slowly pulled out the blade. To be honest, since mastering white hits and Kido proficiently, he hasn't pulled out his Zanpakutō for many years, let alone liberated. But this time, since it's acting, it's natural to be a little more serious. Fortunately, today's spirit skeleton, Shing Yu, is not as fragile as it was a few years ago. Even if he only possesses 1/3 of his main body's strength, as long as he is a little serious, and then let the main fox ghost put a little water, he can also easily create the effect of the battle. Even without Shikai, it can create a very oppressive picture. While thinking, Qing Yu's knives have all been unsheathed. Under the heavy rain, a chilling light was reflected. And at the moment, sure enough, advertisement after seeing this picture of drawing a knife. Whether it was Uchiha Obito on the opposite side, or Nagato and Konan on this side, all were slightly shocked. There was a hint of surprise in everyone's hearts. What's the situation? Did he draw the knife directly? Since many years ago, I haven't seen him drawing his sword in a fighting stance. Unexpectedly this time, after facing the fox ghost of Suya Palace, he unexpectedly came up and drew his sword. Sure enough, is even he serious? The hearts of the three of them also rose in awe, becoming extremely solemn. As people who have been in contact with Shing Yu for so many years, it is impossible for them not to know Shing Yu's character. This is a lord who will never stand as long as he can sit. At any time, he can show a very leisurely and undisciplined posture, and finally, calmly end the battle. But I didn't expect that this time he would actually come up seriously. It seems, that fox ghost is really not easy. Everyone sighed with emotion, watching Shing Yu closely. At this time, Obito on the side suddenly looked at the fox ghost next to him, coughing suggestively, and then reminded. Ah, fox ghost, this guy is the enemy I told you before. The trickiest existence in Akatsuki's organization. Eternal Burning Hitomi Master 1, Shing Yu, Obito said in his usual low tone. Although he didn't say it clearly, but his purpose. Of course it was to urge the fox ghost to do it, after all. Obito had been looking forward to this interesting picture a long time ago. A battle between two equally ridiculously strong guys. But at that time, he is still the leader behind the Shao organization, naturally standing on Shing Yu's side, wanting to defeat the fox ghost. Unexpectedly, it happened to be the other way around now. Seeing that now, the two sides are here. In addition, Shing Yu on the opposite side has already drawn his sword. If his fox ghost doesn't do anything, it will be a little unreasonable. Obito's eyes flickered slightly, full of expectation. At this time, after hearing his words, the fox ghost Shing Yu, under the mask, suddenly chuckled. Ha ha, brother Tuzi, didn't you just want to kill someone with a knife? But I'm sorry, this time the director, it's me. The moment when my thoughts fall, the fox ghost Shing Yu instantly lifted his foot and took a step. Base. The figure suddenly disappeared in place. Afterwards, he came back to Obito's side. He turned his head, looked at him in the mask of a fox ghost, and then, there was almost no hesitation and no unnecessary nonsense. In an instant, he raised the pure white sword in his hand. Boom. The terrifying pressure erupted like a beast, and at the same time, the pure white sword pressure instantly condensed in front of the blade, like a volcano erupting at any time, just about to move. As the pressure increased, this moon-white sword pressure gradually began to become more majestic and terrifying. Even, it seems that the surrounding space has begun to tremble continuously. And the next moment, without saying anything, he immediately moved in the direction of Qing Yu here, slashing out with a swift slash. The crescent moon is serious. Sing. The moment the sword light flashed, the moon-white sword pressure instantly rushed out, like an overturned ocean, covering the world and engulfing it. All the boulders and ruins on the path were instantly annihilated into dust. Seeing this horrible picture, in an instant, Tiandao Pain and Konan beside Qing Yu suddenly changed their complexions, making it difficult to look instantly. Nani? This is his big move again. No, you must let Qing Yu avoid it? This guy's sword pressure can't be blocked at will. Thought of here, Konan gritted his teeth and tried to remind. Clear. However, she was only halfway through her voice, but she saw that Qing Yu in front of her just raised her right hand faintly and said quickly. 81 of Bakudo splitting void, boom. The moment the voice fell, suddenly, I saw Qing Yu's whole body, and the blue Ryotsu rushed out in an instant, suddenly expanding, and even faintly covering the power of the fox ghost opposite. At the same time, a huge water blue enchantment immediately appeared in front of the Qing Yu three people, like a sky curtain, directly blocked in front of Crescent Moon Sky Chong. Just at this moment one advertisement the terrifying sword pressure of that month wide directly blasted above the barrier. Boom. The deafening explosion sounded instantly. At the same time, I saw that all Moon White's attacks were all blocked outside the barrier, and none of them could pass. This seemingly weak transparent barrier, at this moment, seems to have become a stronger defensive iron wall than the 5-layer Rashomon. The surrounding wind is whistling, and the shockwaves continue to explode. However, the canopy of splitting void has not changed at all. Till the end, when all the Yubai sword pressure disappeared, there were only a few spreading cracks in this sky curtain. Next moment, bang! The sword collapsed, and the sky shattered. Between the whole world, it seems that there is only the roaring wind and the powerful impact that continues to spread out. Even Konan, Pain, and Uchiha Obito were a little unstable in the face of this sudden spread of shock. At this moment, all three of them constricted their pupils and were stunned on the spot. What's the situation? The sword pressure of the attack and the barrier of defense shattered at the same time. This draw. Seeing this picture, all three of them opened their eyes in an instant, and looked at Qing Yu incredulously. There is only an incredible horror left in my heart. You. The fox ghost's attack that was enough to kill Planetary Devastation was actually cracked by Qing Yu's unprinted enchantment ninjutsu. Moreover, looking at his expression, it is actually so relaxed. This. Hardly possible, his strength is not weaker than that of the fox ghost at all? Off. Aware of this, Uchiha Obito almost froze on the spot. Even Nagato and Konan, who were on Shing Yu's side, were completely dumbfounded after realizing this. This TM Shing Yu is actually so strong. The two met each other. I only saw the deep shock from the opponent's eyes. In the past, they only know that Shing Yu is very strong. Perhaps, it may be a little stronger than Nagato. However, after watching this simple game between him and the Fox Ghost just now, they were suddenly stupid. Is this a bit stronger? Now, the two looked at Shing Yu's back, and there was only an incredible horror left. And on the other side in the distance, Obito thought about this outrageous picture, but for a while, he felt the cold behind his back. Because he suddenly recalled a past event, that was years ago. At the beginning, in the Fire Country Qing Yu City, the Fox Ghost uses Sharingan as a bait to provoke the bounty ninjas of the entire ninja world. And at that time, in order to incite Qing Yu, Obito shot 4.6 and helped himself regain Sharingan. As an intern, Afei once asked Qing Yu about the strength between the two of them. Senior Qing Yu, you should have watched a lot of that Fox Ghost fight just now, right? What do you think? Have you ever beaten him? The reason why he asked this. Of course it is to have a bottom in my heart. After all, if Qing Yu is the same as the original Uchiha, if he is killed by the Fox Ghost in a few rounds, then he will be blind. However, after hearing Obito's question, Qing Yu only raised his eyebrows slightly, then chuckled. 5 to 5. For opponents of this kind, I often kill them solo. Once, when I heard these words, Obito only thought that Qing Yu was acting as a force. After all, in the entire Qing Yu City War, he never made a move from beginning to end. But the Fox Ghost showed extremely powerful crushing strength. However, until today, until the moment just now, Obito suddenly understood could it be that time. Qing Yu didn't lie at all. Aware of this, Uchiha Obito was sluggish for an instant. The brain is blank. Chapter 217 An Outrageous Battle, a one-man show of the actor, seeking subscription. Advertisement I don't know when, the spreading storm began to disappear gradually. Rain Shinobi Village returned to silence again, and this time. But the silence was a little weird. After a while, Uchiha Obito turned his head stiffly and looked at Qing Yu over there again. There is still a hint of incredible in his eyes. Qing Yu, this guy. Is the defensive barrier he just had still a pupil technique? Did it rely on his blood succession boundary, Evil King True Eye, to release Wuyan? But why what is this strange feeling? Obito's face was tense, and his expression was very ugly. And in his heart, naturally, it began to shrink tightly. No doubt, the result of the two people's confrontation just now has completely disrupted his psychological expectations. Originally, in his expectation, when the Fox Ghost slashed out, Qing Yu should be powerless to resist, or in other words, he should choose to avoid it. But what he never expected was, not only did this guy not dodge or hide at all, but on the contrary, he was able to directly and easily parry. And it happened to dissolve all the aftermath of the slash. It's terrible. It seems, the outcome of this battle has become unknown again. Huh. Obito breathed out slowly under the mask. He tried to calm himself down quickly, however, at this time. Suddenly, the mutation happened again. The Fox Ghost in front of me suddenly burst into flames like moonlight. Next moment, he leapt and shot out. The whole person is like a pale meteor, holding the sword in his hand, directly slashing towards the front Qing Yu. That terrifying speed even directly swept the boundless gust of wind, interrupting the black rain. Boom. Along the way, the ground under his feet too was directly shaken by the pressure of the escape from the tip of the sword, and a deep crack was directly shaken. Seeing this sudden picture, this moment, Obito, Nagato, and Konan were all shocked and suddenly stopped. The Fox Ghost actually took the initiative to attack me? And what's the matter with this kind of aggressiveness like a beast, and a sense of pressure that can destroy nerves? Could it be that, from now on, is he just getting serious? Aware of this, Obito was suddenly happy in his heart. A completely different momentum. Could it be that the previous attacks of the Fox Ghost were just releasing water? Even when facing 4th Raikage of the year, he never showed such a serious attitude. It seems there is a chance. While Obito was ecstatic, Nagato and Konan on this side naturally gritted their teeth instantly, and their hearts became serious. Judging from the killing intent of the opponent rushing over, a fierce battle is probably inevitable. I don't know if Qing Yu can handle it. Boom. And just as they thought, suddenly, another burst of loud noise came out. A picture that made their scalp numb appeared. I only see this side. Qing Yu actually took the same step, holding the knife in his hand, and rushed out. When facing the Fox Ghost that was bombarding him like a meteor, he did not choose to dodge or hesitate. Seeing this very shocking picture, everyone present shook their hearts suddenly, and they couldn't help but froze. Everyone's eyes widened, and they were struggling to the front, for fear of missing any detail. And at this moment, the two figures, one black and the other white, finally joined each other. Advertisement boom. The moment the white sword in the hand of the Fox Ghost touched the silver knife in Qing Yu's hand, in Rina, countless Ryotsu storms came and went. Golden thunder and lightning, white flame, black torrent, blue storm. Everything seems to be ignited at this moment, however. Haven't waited for everyone present to react. I saw the Fox Ghost in the sky a flash goddess in an instant, disappearing in the same place. The next moment, suddenly appeared behind Qing Yu. Immediately after that, just like every time before, the white sword in his hand ignited a moon-white flame again. Crescent Moon Sky Chong. Boom. The extremely terrifying flame was tossing like an ocean, and Shing Yu's figure was completely submerged in it in an instant. This astonishing change that broke in directly caused all the people present to regret it. What's the situation? What's the matter with this speed? Why is it so fast? Jing ran, almost to the point where even Shing Yu can't react. However, not waiting for them to think carefully. But I heard an indifferent voice among the constantly tumbling white flames. The 78 of Hado was on wheel. The moment the voice fell. Suddenly, a clear sword sound instantly tore everything around. Base. It's like the sharpest blade unsheathed. At the same time, a blue circular slash unexpectedly emerged from the pale flames, smashing all the surrounding flames in an instant, and directly blasted on the fox ghost on the opposite side. Ton. The fox ghost didn't seem to be able to react, and was immediately blown away by this blue circular slash. The power of the slash continued to increase, and he directly forcibly pushed the body of the fox ghost, and smashed it on a distant hill. Bang! There was a deafening impact. I saw that the entire hill unexpectedly began to appear cracks, and the next moment. Boom! Collapsed directly. The hill that was still standing next to Rain Shinobi Village instantly collapsed into countless ruins and sky of smoke. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark question mark. Quote. After seeing this picture, Obito and Konan Nagato around, their faces were completely shocked. This, Qing Yu actually took Crescent Skychong with a physical body, but also blasted the fox ghost with a single blow? Hiss. The three of them looked at Qing Yu's gaze, only the boundless shock was left. This is a picture they never imagined to know. Before Qing Yu appeared, the hardness of the fox ghost's body is obvious to all. Not only completely ignored Shira Pen's rocket-flying wrist and Konan's detonating talisman, he also directly resisted the Heavenly Pen's Shenluo Tianzheng and Planetary Devastation. This exaggerated performance is enough to explain the horror of his defense. However, after Qing Yu's attack called Wa Slashing Wheel appeared, he was actually blown away. The three of them constricted their pupils and looked towards the distant hills, trying to find the trace of the fox ghost. At this time, a white light that tore through the sky appeared instantly. It's a fox ghost. His white long dress seemed to be broken a little bit, but his body was still intact. As before, he once again turned into a pale meteor, rushing towards Qing Yu at a terrifying speed. In the same way, Qing Yu on this side did not hesitate, and his face calmly rushed towards the other party again. At this time, the three people below noticed, behind Qing Yu's red cloud and black robe, just like the white robe of the fox ghost, there also appeared a trace of being slashed. Seeing this, several people couldn't help but take a breath. Off. Within such a close distance, Qing Yu directly carried the complete crescent moon Skychong of the fox ghost. Finally, Jingran just appeared to be a little broken in his clothes. And, just now, within such a close distance, he directly carried the crescent moon of the fox ghost. Finally, it turned out that the clothes were slightly torn apart, and there were no extra scars at all. This outrageous defense, it's almost the same as the fox ghost over there, right? It turns out that Qing Yu's strength has actually been tyrannical to this point. Advertisement. The eyes of the three people stared at the sky in disbelief. No doubt, this time the battle, it is constantly refreshing, their perception of Qing Yu's strength. At this time, bang, the blades of the two in the air meet again. Storm Flurry Room, a new round of battle has begun again. And in Qing Yu's gaze, from beginning to end, there was an incomparable tenacity to fight. Go ahead. Unstoppable. After seeing this picture, Konan and Nagato below, in an instant, invariably completely stunned, and they couldn't help being touched in their hearts. They have never seen it before. Qing Yu will have such a serious battle one day. Even before, when he faced a Sanagakure alone, they just completed the task very leisurely and casually. I didn't expect this time. He is so serious, really, from the beginning. Is he always attached to the entire Akatsuki organization? Nagato and Konan were stunned, and on the other side, Obito was naturally pitied by the fierce battle in the air. Is their strength really so good that they can be as good as 5 or 5? And, what is going on with this weird feeling? Why? The fox ghost seems to be suppressed by that Qing Yu instead? Obito gritted his teeth tightly, staring at the high-speed battle above. To be honest, the fighting speed between Qing Yu and the fox ghost was really fast. Even if he watched Uchiha Obito with his Mangekyo Sharingan, he couldn't keep up with that speed. And, from time to time, the two sides have been using each of 060 tactics, the dazzling light effects, constantly tossing and bursting over the entire Rain Shinobi Village. Zanwallen. Flying Dragon strikes thieves to shake the sky and Thunder Cannon. Shuanglian Blue Fire falls, Black Coffin. Crescent Moon Rushing. Crescent Moon Rushing. Seriously Series Tianwu Lianshun. Must kill Crescent Moon Rushing. Etc. Such a series of fancy skills, although they are released in the air. However, just the aftermath of the escaping almost blasted the entire area below into a basin. Without any exaggeration, the hills outside Rain Shinobi Village will lose at least 1/2 of their area. And at this time, the battle is still going on fiercely. Visible cracks have appeared on the clothes of both sides, which can be described as war-torn. However, although it seems difficult to distinguish the outcome, Obito was still vaguely aware of the weirdness. That is, in this high-speed contest, this fox ghost does not seem to show the kind of powerful crushing pressure in previous battles. Could it be that he was deliberately releasing the water? Do not, it seems unlikely, because Obito has clearly felt it. The attack released by the Fox Ghost in this battle has a sense of oppression far beyond every battle he has ever had. Even if you just watch it, you will feel a little breathy. Not to mention, in the previous battle, he had never been in a stalemate for such a long time. With his arrogant personality, he has always liked quick fights and quick decisions. There is no reason to release water at this time. In other words, it is his enemy. Shing is too strong. Aware of this, Obito clenched his fists unwillingly for a moment. Damn it, why is this happening? Could it be that? Am I on the wrong team again? Chapter 218 Beyond Cognition, The Beast of Slaughter is born, seeking subscription? Advertisement just when the flames of war over there. Now, in Rain Shinobi Village, on top of an abandoned building, Orochimaru stared at the distant picture closely and was stunned. What happened? That fox actually fought with Qing Yu-sama. Orochimaru's eyes widened, and he went silly, at the beginning. He also suspected that the Fox Ghost was acting. After all, the whereabouts of Suya Palace has always been weird, and the conditions for joining are also very harsh. It stands to reason that as long as you join it, you are bound to have surrendered to Qing Yu's strength. But, the Fox Ghost attacked Akatsuki in the opposite direction. This matter, in the eyes of people like Orochimaru who knows Qing Yu's identity, naturally has many doubts. Coupled with the warning look that Qing Yu gave him earlier, Orochimaru naturally noticed a trace of unusual aura. As a result, even if the battle just started, Orochimaru still held a critical attitude. He feels that this is just a play directed by Qing Yu, and the action of the Fox Ghost is only in line with the play. However, as the battle continues to be fierce and horrible, Orochimaru immediately overturned his unrealistic speculation. It's absolutely impossible that this is acting. The strong killing intent and fighting intent on the Fox Ghost and Qing Yu are almost solidified. Everyone who feels it can't help but be terrified. And their high-speed battle is just the aftermath of the impact, which seems to be able to annihilate everything around at any time. This kind of horror is like a battle of immortals. How could it be performed by TM? If you are not careful, it will be a dead end. Moreover, the powerful strength erupted by the two sides at this moment is far beyond what Orochimaru once understood. If there is one word to describe it, it is outrageously strong. It's too ridiculous. Orochimaru can't even believe it. This is a battle that happened directly in front of him. He was clearly standing so far away and watching, as if he could feel the burning pressure in his eyes. It's like being before an erupting volcano. This terrifying sense of presence and horror far exceeds everything Orochimaru has seen and heard. It is estimated that even in that year, the most intense and large-scale battle that took place in Konoha, Senju Hashirama's Uchiha Madara, the extent of its records is probably no more than that. Orochimaru's eyes narrowed slightly. On the forehead, a few drops of cold sweat began to slip. But his expression is always tense, it looks like. That Fox Ghost, it seems that he really rebelled and turned into Suya Palace. Otherwise, it is impossible for him to have such a strong intent to fight against Qing Yu-sama, who is the master of Suya Palace. In other words, is Qing Yu being serious this time because of his anger towards the traitor? Orochimaru's heart was tight. Honestly, I have known him for so many years. It was the first time that he saw Qing Yu put into a battle like this. The end of the Fox Ghost is probably not too wonderful. Orochimaru narrowed his slender snake eyes and muttered to himself in a low voice. He seemed to have already recognized Qing Yu's victory. Because he knows, from the beginning to the present, Qing Yu hasn't really used the Zanpakutō in his hand yet. At least, advertisement he has not yet performed a liberation ceremony on the knife. And in Orochimaru's impression, Qing Yu once said, when his sword completely lifts the seal, the increased combat power will increase by a geometric multiple, which is very terrifying. But now, Qing Yu has not been liberated for a long time. Of course Orochimaru could also guess the general reason. After all, this is Rain Shinobi Village, Akatsuki's base. Qing Yu's strength itself is so tyrannical. If Zanpakutō is liberated to fight again, I'm afraid it will destroy the entire village. Moreover, coupled with the many people here, if it weren't for the critical moment, Qing Yu probably wouldn't expose his whole cards casually. Thinking like this, Orochimaru continued to watch the battle. And this side, above the very center of the battlefield. The silhouettes of the Fox Ghost and Qing Yu are still intertwined quickly, colliding with white and black sparks, without stopping in the slightest. But finally, at this moment, suddenly, the Fox Ghost seemed to have caught a gap in Qing Yu's move, and suddenly raised his other hand, waved directly, and quickly said, "Virtual bullet." Roar. I saw a white-red ball of light suddenly condensed on his palm, and then, a brilliant beam of light burst out in an instant, directly rushing towards Qing Yu in front. This speed is so fast that it completely surpasses the Sero he has released before. So that even Qing Yu, I also had to retreat back in an instant, and pulled the distance away. Boom. The white-red virtual bullet directly passed the afterimage of Qing Yu, directly bombarding the ground below, and in this direction, it happened to be aimed at Uchiha Obito below. Seeing this picture, Obito's face changed suddenly. What the hell is going on? Didn't you two fight? How can TM's attack be directly offset to me, now? The virtual bullet has arrived like lightning in an instant. Obito gritted his teeth instantly, and there was no time to think about it. The first time he wanted to activate Kamui to put himself into the hollow state. However, because I was too focused on eating melons just now. As a result, his starting speed was slightly slower than usual, and when the whole body was about to hollow, his right arm was still a little short. And that's it, boom! The virtual bullet instantly covered it, blasting Obito's right arm straight. Hiss! Obito's face was ugly, he made a subconsciously painful sound, and his eyes suddenly showed a stiff look. Damn it, misguided, I didn't expect the speed of this attack to be so fast. Although the power is not as powerful as the Sero and Crescent Moon attacks that the Fox Ghosts have previously issued, the speed is far above it. Fortunately, Obito has always maintained a slight vigilance in order to quickly display Kamui. Otherwise, I am afraid that it will be directly crippled like Namikaze Minato. Thought of here, Obito gritted his teeth slightly, raised his eyes, and looked at the Fox Ghost above. And at this moment, the Fox Ghost seemed to have just noticed that he had accidentally wounded his friendly army. Ah, sorry. I didn't notice that you were so close, Tucson. But, by the way, if you don't plan to go to war, can you stand a little further? Being so close, it affects my performance very much. As soon as the long voice of the Fox Ghost fell, Obito's face suddenly turned black. Advertisement, what's so special also affect your performance? Then you have worked hard to defeat Qing Yu, let's talk about it. After a moment of silence, Obito raised his hand to cover the place where his right arm was injured, while gritting his teeth slightly, his face was low and authentic. Stop talking about digression, Fox Ghost. Before you came, you said that you already have an unused hole card? So, isn't it just useful to deal with that golden pupil now? Obito reminded with a sullen face. Before coming, the Fox Ghost did say this to him. But, at that time, because Obito felt that the strength of the Fox Ghost could push everything equally, he didn't think much about it. But, now it seems, flat push, it's impossible for TM. Qing Yu's true strength far exceeds the imagination of everyone present. Seriously, he actually possesses a terrifying strength that can completely rival the Fox Ghost of the Zai Palace. Moreover, there is a faint tendency to overwhelm. So now, Obito naturally thought of the trump card in the Fox Ghost's mouth. Perhaps, only in this way can we have the opportunity to turn defeat into victory. After all, so far, looking at Qing Yu's serious state, it seems that he has already released his true strength. At this time, after hearing Obito's words, the Fox Ghost in the sky was taken aback for a moment, as if only then remembered that he had said this. Subsequently, under his white mask, he suddenly laughed like a self-deprecating laugh. He raised his hand and put it on his mask, and then shook his head with a light smile. Hey, if you don't tell me, I almost forgot, it seems. There is really no need to hide the hole cards now. Talking, the Fox Ghost suddenly raised his left hand, and suddenly a divine brown light appeared in his hand, which was extremely distorted. At the moment when this ray of light appeared, it seemed as if the surrounding space was contaminated, showing a weird sense of fault. And everyone present, after seeing this beam of light, couldn't help but feel the chill rising from behind. What is this? This kind of weird feeling seems to have some kind of bloody beast gazing at it and oppressing everything around it. The level of evil and weirdness is completely beyond their cognition. This is the hole card of the Fox Ghost? Aware of this, not only Nagato and Konan, but Obito was shocked. This hairy feeling, it's just like how Obito felt when he first met a Fox Ghost on the night of the extinction, full of endless aggression, and it is chilling. This moment, Obito didn't seem to have any hesitation, his heart sank in an instant, and Sharingan's red eyes flashed. Kamui suddenly started, base. His body was instantly drawn into the space Uzumaki in the right eye, and then disappeared in place. When the next moment appears, he had already opened a distance of more than 10 feet, looking at this side from a distance, as if he was afraid that he would be affected again. At this time, the Fox Ghost looked at Pen and Konan Shing Yu and others below, and then smiled cleanly. Akatsuki, you are very fortunate to witness the birth of the Beast of Slaughter. Chapter 219 Hado no 99.5 Swirling Dragons of Destruction, Seeking Subscription. Advertisement. As soon as the voice fell, Nagato and Konan's pupils shrank at the same time. Beast of Slaughter? However, not waiting for them to think carefully? I saw the Fox Ghost in the air instantly exerting force, directly squeezing the brown light ball in his hand, and then said loudly. Summoning technique, Beast God, Yawing, boom. The moment the light ball burst, suddenly, the evil black aura suddenly rushed out of his palm, and UFO floated above the sky and the earth. In the next moment, all the rays of light began to gradually condense, and a huge orc-shaped monster was outlined. This monster has a pair of huge antlers and deer feet. Does the tail tangle like a white python? The black long bun hair is draped behind the sturdy body, and the face is covered by the sacred bones, and the facial features are completely invisible. The body still exudes countless black and brown auras, which is very strange. Coupled with his huge body that is tens of meters high, it seems to give people a strong sense of psychological oppression. After seeing this picture clearly, the three of Konan, Nagato and Obito below were naturally shocked, and even Orochimaru in the distance shrank his pupils. This humanoid summoning beast. No, what kind of animal is this TM? What's the matter with the white bone on its face? Why does it look so full of incongruity? Several unidentified audiences were naturally blinded. And at this time, under the Fox Ghost mask, Qing Yu grinned slightly. This hybrid beast god Yawing, of course, they were also the props he bought in the System Mall, and they belong to the Alien Summoning Technique series. You only need to inject Ryotsu and you can summon it for control operations. As for its power, In the original version of Shinigami, it has a record of killing 4 deputy captains in seconds. Matsumoto Rangaku, Hina 060 Morimo, Hisagi Shuhei, Tezeman of the shooting field, etc., in its hands, could not last for a few rounds, so they were immediately beaten. And this one, although it was summoned from the summoning technique of another world, but under the blessing of Qing Yu's huge Ryotsu. It also got a great strength bonus, not to mention ordinary tail beasts. Even if it is a complete 9 tails, it will not stop at all. It can basically be said that this can be regarded as a weapon that has properly surpassed the 9 big-tailed beasts. Certainly, compared with Hollow's Shing Yu, there is still a big gap in strength. But this is not important. At the very least, don't say anything else. Just its huge size and the void Ryotsu emanating from its body are enough to bluff people. This is the reason why Qing Yu deliberately called it the whole card. And at the moment, sure enough, the natives of the Hokage world below were all dumbfounded after seeing the appearance of this mixed beast god. Limited imagination is simply not enough to support them to understand such a weird life form. As if it was synthesized out of thin air and this dangerous sense of oppression. It's outrageous to be far above the tail beasts at this time. The beast god suddenly raised his head and let out a roar that shook the world. Roar. The sound waves it roared seemed to form a real attack, instantly setting off a monstrous wave of air around it, suddenly spreading to the surroundings. Boom. The violent wind emptied all the surrounding debris in an instant, and also caused the clothes of the people on the opposite side to be blown hunting. And with the passage of time, every second, it seems to feel more oppressive. This moment, Nagato and Konan's faces became heavy again. This summoning beast, it's not just an ordinary existence at all, it's too weird. Advertisement. After a while, Konan on the side looked at Qing Yu not far away, and then said with a very serious face in a low voice. Qing Yu. Do you have any confidence in this B******** god? Although her tone tried to keep calm, she still showed a hint of tension. After all, from their past experience, they have never heard of such a weird thing. Moreover, if even such a strong fox ghost calls him the whole card, its power can be imagined. But at this moment, when Konan's voice just fell, suddenly. However, seeing the mixed beast god who was still roaring just now, he suddenly stepped forward, quickly leaned over, and directly hit the bottom with a punch. At this moment, the target it is attacking, it was not Qing Yu, but Konan and Tiandao Pain on the side. That strange high-speed attack and his majestic body, almost completely mismatched. An astonishing gust of wind blows up, as if the air is torn apart. There was an ear-splitting roar, bang. Seeing this incredible picture, the two of them were suddenly shocked. However, at this moment, but there is no extra time to shock them. Nagato suddenly gritted his teeth and directly controlled Heavenly Dao Pain to move a step, stopping in front of the fist of the mixed beast god. The next moment, he raised his hands and said in a deep voice. Shen Luo Tianzheng. Boom. The powerful repulsive force slammed toward the surroundings in an instant, trying to push the fist of the mixed beast god directly. Of course he knew that Konan could be avoided with the paper dance. However, he still chose to take the initiative, just because he wanted to prove some inferences. However, at the next moment, he immediately felt an extremely powerful reaction force, and it blasted directly on his body. Puff. Heavenly Dao Pen, once again was directly knocked into the air by his own repulsion. His eyes are full of incredible, and the fist of the mixed beast god seemed to have only slowed down a little bit, and then continued to blast downward indiscriminately. But at this moment, a picture that everyone hadn't thought of appeared. Suddenly, Qing Yu in the air, his figure disappeared in an instant, and then, he unexpectedly appeared in front of his fist. To everyone's surprise, at this moment, he didn't swing a knife or perform surgery. ACEG, instead, he raised his palm directly and greeted him. Simple actions, no fuss or redundancy, just raise your hand. But the next moment, boom! The fist of the mixed beast god blasted on Qing Yu's palm. The boundless shockwave immediately spread out in all directions, blowing Qing Yu's brown hair, and also blowing his red cloud and black robe. The storm is turbulent and the sky is full of smoke. But, his body is still standing still. After seeing this picture clearly, for a moment, everyone in the room, including Obito, Nagato Konan and even Orochimaru, froze. This? What happened? Even the fox ghost's trump card summoning beast, he can directly catch it with his body? What's so special? Everyone held their breath tightly, completely stupid. Advertisement. At this time, Qing Yu just turned his head slightly, Feng Qingyun looked at Konan lightly, and then smiled lightly. You just asked me if I am sure, well, as you can see. Have. Qing Yu said with a smile, his tone as leisurely as ever. As if talking about just a trivial matter, however. After listening to this, whether it's Nagato Konan or Obito, they're all dumbfounded. The simple one, yes, it's enough to reveal too much. At this time, Qing Yu turned his head again, and after glancing at Obito in the distance, he looked at the fox ghost and mixed animal god in the sky, and then faintly spoke. The time is just right, also let you see, my so-called whole cards. But, in this way, this battle will end here. After hearing Qing Yu's indifferent words, in an instant. Dead still, all the people present were shocked. Qing Yu's whole card? Ready to end the battle? Is this special? You have already shown such terrifying strength. Actually, there are still whole cards? Nagato and Konan were naturally stunned, and Uchiha Obito in the distance is almost demented. After seeing that the fist of the mixed beast god was easily blocked by Qing Yu with a palm, his face suddenly stiffened. And now, after hearing his words again, Obito's brain was almost blank. All that is left is to instinctively constrict his pupils, tightly clinging to every picture in the distance. But at this moment, Qing Yu smiled and raised his other hand, the golden pupil flickered slightly, and then stretched out a finger and said faintly. It's over, Hato's 99, 5 swirling dragons of destruction. When the voice fell, Qing Yu's body suddenly exploded with pressure like Kun King. However, the people present did not understand his words at all. But, when the sky-shaking roar and terrifying pressure came from above the sky, their hearts all jumped suddenly and looked up. I saw in the air, those circulating storms turned into black and purple rushes at the same time. Next moment, countless endless cracking sounds came from all around. The earth under their feet began to vibrate constantly, and countless huge gullies appeared in an instant between the sand and gravel. Those boulders that were originally reduced to ruins, at this moment, because of the pressure and impact of ultimate, they made endless explosions. Boom. Bang. As the end is coming, so far, the most terrifying vision has appeared. I saw in the sky, those originally circling purple air currents turned into 5 majestic dragons directly at this moment. In an instant, directly and indiscriminately blasted towards the beast god, Fox Ghost, and Obito. Chapter 220 Qing Yu will become the legend of Rain Shinobi Village, seeking subscription. Advertisement Uchiha Obito below. I haven't had time to understand the existence in the sky. I immediately felt a terrifying oppression like the collapse of the sky, and it was transmitted to my whole body. Bones, muscles, blood, nerves. It seems that every inch of body is suffering from an explosion-like pressure. Under the mask, his face changed drastically in an instant, and there was no blood. In the eyes of the 5 giant dragons looking into the air, only incomprehensible fear and unspeakable shock were left. What is this power? Dragon, existence beyond everything. This is the Qing Yu, is one hiding his trump card? But damn it, I can't move at all. Obito's pupils shrunk, gritted his teeth tightly, and a trace of blood leaked from the corner of his mouth. However, at this moment, under that powerful sense of oppression, he couldn't move at all. Even if he wanted to mobilize chakra in his body to start Mangekyo Sharingan, it became extremely difficult. And at this moment, the 5 dragons finally rushed down in an absolutely condescending posture. The endless sense of oppression directly blasted down. Accompanied by countless purple rays, the dragon circulates, and a storm is raging, like destroying the sky and destroying the earth. At this moment, suddenly, puff, black and red blood came out above the storm. Under the absolute pressure of 5 swirling dragons of destruction, the first to bear the brunt is naturally the mixed beast god born by the Fox Ghost summoning. I saw the dragon blast on its body fiercely, without any hindrance. The rush of gravity caused by Qing Yu's high concentration Ryotsu directly ignored the power of the mixed beast god, and instantly forced it directly to the ground. Boom. The storm spread, the earthquake trembled, the blood rain broke out, and the beast god roared. Roar, however, even if it's doing it right now. But to no avail, Qing Yu's 5 swirling dragons of destruction completely takes it as the main goal, so of course, most of the power is covered on it. Countless Ryotsu rushed in gravity, like an invisible giant blade, slashing every inch of its body. And next, in the horrified eyes of Obito, Nagato and Konan, I saw that the majestic and incomparable Haki beast god was just like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered, and fell apart in an instant. Bang! The sound of the trembling explosion suddenly sounded in Rain Shinobi Village, just like a volcanic eruption. And the next moment, the entire body of the beast god was directly blasted into a brown spirit stream by the powerful 5 swirling dragons of destruction. Finally, slowly disappeared into the air. The figure dispersed, leaving only a huge deep pit on the ground and the deep black blood sprinkled on the river. Seeing this terrifying picture, both Nagato Konan and Uchiha Obito over there are completely frozen. The horror in their eyes is no longer enough to show the shock in their hearts. The trump card summoned by the dignified Fox Ghost unexpectedly was killed in a second? This? Their eyes unanimously looked towards Qing Yu's direction. Above the look, full of incredible, however, in fact. Although the beast god is dead, the power of 5 swirling dragons of destruction has not completely disappeared. Even if it consumes most of its power when blasting the mixed beast god to death. However, it still seems to be controlled by some invisible force, in the form of an extremely oppressive dragon. It continues to blast towards the Fox Ghost and Obito below. At this moment, the Fox Ghost in the air didn't seem to react, and was directly blasted into the distance. Puff. And on the other side at this time, Uchiha Obito felt the tremendous pressure from the body and the tearing feeling of the soul. At this moment, I felt a deep fear. He suddenly understood, this power it is not at all to the extent that humans can resist. Even the so-called trump card of the Fox Ghost Beast God can't last for 5 seconds. This means if it hits, I will certainly die. Realizing this, Obito's face turned pale, gritted his teeth, and tried harder to mobilize chakra to use Mangekyo Sharingan. But advertisement don't say that the pupil technique is activated. At this moment, it is extremely difficult for him to even breathe and blink. Moment, a deeper fear emerged in his heart. How can this be? It's just the coercion from the attack. Why can it reach this point? Is this the true power of his evil king's true eyes? Yes, damn it, even the transfer of chakra is difficult to do. The surrounding valleys had already collapsed into ruins, and at this moment, Obito above the ruins was instantly hit. Puff. What? with the violent spurting of blood everywhere on the body. Obito made a painful noise. At the same time, a dazzling sensation that was about to suffocate and the severe pain from his body made him almost fainted in an instant. With a buzz in his brain, he almost lost the ability to think. And his body, finally, as if being overwhelmed, he fell feebly forward and fell on the ground. Storms in the sky gathered here, and the purple rushed continuously. It is even impossible to see from the outside what is going on inside. And at this moment, Obito on the ground only started to feel. The difference in strength between himself and Shing Yu has reached this level of horror like a moat. His limbs were cold and he could hardly feel the pain anymore. Fear began to spread silently, but at this moment, suddenly, do not know why, all the oppression in him suddenly disappeared. Obito, who has always been good at fighting for life, realized this and his heart shook in an instant. And just as he raised his eyes, unexpectedly found. I don't know when, the fox ghost that was blown into the air, actually stood in front of him again. And at this moment, it seems that the wolf fox is also the same, with a lot of damage to his clothes, and the bloodline is still infiltrated. It seems that I was injured by 5 swirling dragons of destruction. Just when Obito was stunned, the fox ghost suddenly looked at Obito and said in a low voice. If you want to live, just follow me, I have helped you counteract the coercion. Use your Mangekyo Sharingan Kamui immediately and get out of here. After this series of voices of the fox ghost fell. Obito was shocked, only then did he understand why he suddenly didn't feel any oppression anymore. It turned out that the fox ghost saved me. It's really ironic. I took advantage of him Ishin, but he actually came to save me on purpose? A moment of helplessness flashed through Obito's heart. But at this moment, there is no time to think about it. It's not a problem at all to live or die here, there is no need for any hesitation. Before creating a world with Lin, he certainly wouldn't allow himself to die like this. Immediately, his mind sank, as if he had grasped the last straw, and gritted his teeth instantly, chakra condensed. Without the oppression of 5 swirling dragons of destruction, everything is so smooth. The familiar feeling appeared before Obito's right eye. Next moment, Mangekyo Sharingan, finally launched. Awesome. It seems that he has exhausted the last bit of strength in his life. Obito resisted heavily, and finally released his stunt Kamui. Next moment, I saw above the pupil of his right eye. A black space Uzumaki emerged instantly and began to absorb everything around it. And Obito's body and the body of the fox ghost Qing Yu began to quickly twist and inhale into the different space of Kamui. In the end, it disappeared. 0. Look for flowers. After the Ryotsu streamer of 5 swirling dragons of destruction lasted for a long time. All the visions began to disappear gradually, however. At the moment of complete disappearance, Nagato and Konan couldn't help but shrink their pupils at the same time and froze. Advertisement and many more. What's the situation? Uchiha Obito is gone? The 2 Konan were startled. But when I saw the Obito station just now, there was nothing left at this moment. Only a piece of nothingness remains, not to mention the corpse. There is not even a wreck. Could it be that? He is just like the god of mixed beasts, who has been bombarded by Qing Yu's 5 swirling dragons of destruction. No, so cruel? The 2 suddenly took a breath. Subsequently, Konan turned his head in horror, looked at Qing Yu, and cautiously said. Is Uchiha Obito dead? The reason for asking this is of course to confirm it. However, after hearing this, Qing Yu turned his head. Suddenly, there was a solemn look on his face, and then he slowly shook his head, saying. Do not, he was taken away by the fox ghost. 0. When the voice fell, Nagato and Konan were shocked again. Quilt taken away by the fox ghost. What's the situation? The fox that had just been blown into flight actually returned to Uchiha Obito's side and took him away? Subconsciously, Nagato and Konan naturally felt a bit weird. However, after thinking about it, they suddenly remembered. After all, in the former Qing Yu city, the fox ghost once demonstrated his space-time ninjutsu. It doesn't seem to be too difficult to get Obito away directly in such a chaotic situation. But anyway, Qing Yu's whole card is too powerful and a bit too scary, right? Konan and Tiandao Pain met once. From the eyes of the other party, they saw the shock that has not yet subsided. Starting today, Qing Yu, maybe it will become the legend of Rain Shinobi Village. And at this time, in the case that Nagato et al. Did not know. Kamui is in a different space. Now, there are 2 figures in it. The person standing on the left is naturally the masked Qing Yu after Hollow, but at this time, his clothes all showed a battle-damaged appearance. On the right, Uchiha Obito's situation is even worse. At this moment, his mask was completely broken, and his body was covered with various scars. It seemed to be dying. At this time, he stared at the fox ghost in front of him with a strange expression. His eyes were complicated. To be honest, before that, he hadn't thought of it at all. This fox ghost, who has always been aloof and arrogant, would suddenly save him. Obito is very clear. In that weird situation, my soul is like encountering Shinigami's throat, and it is already on the verge of collapse. If it weren't for the sudden appearance of the fox and to offset it, he would never have the opportunity to use Kamui to escape. In other words, this time, it was the fox ghost that pulled him back from the brink of death. Naturally, Obito felt a little weird, after all. The last person who rescued him from death, still more than 10 years ago. In that cave, the lingering white-haired old man, the legendary ninja, Uchiha Madara. Chapter 221 I can't understand, but I was shocked, subscription required. Advertisement after Obito was silent for a while. Then he lowered his eyes slowly, and then let out a sigh of relief. Call, he exhaled very slowly, it's like holding it in the chest for a long time. And from this, he also began to feel helpless in his heart, and decided to temporarily let go of the confusion in his heart. After all, anyway, this time, he was finally saved by the fox ghost. No matter what the purpose of the other party, the facts are already established. Instead of spending extra thoughts and vigilance and suspicion, it's better to quickly figure out how to quickly make up for the deviations and mistakes of Project Tsuki no Mi. After all, now, there is not much time left for him. Akatsuki has already started collecting tail beasts. At the beginning, when Obito bewitched Nagato, of course there is no mention of the so-called Infinite Tsukuyomi and Project Tsuki no Mi. I just talked about using absolute tail beast weapons as power to deter the 5 powers by force, so as to achieve peace. And Nagato has always believed in this plan even if Obito was kicked out of Akatsuki, this plan did not seem to have changed. But the trouble is, to complete Project Tsuki no Mi, it is not only necessary to collect tail beasts, but also to have another element. That is Rinnegan of Nagato. Do not, precisely, it's Rinnegan of Uchiha Madara. Those eyes, known as the Eyes of the Immortal, are the ultimate of pupil surgery, and also the key to Project Tsuki no Mi. Once, the old 060 Uchiha Madara realized that he was running out of time and could no longer realize Project Tsuki no Mi. So, he secretly transplanted it into Nagato's body. However, Nagato naturally didn't know this secret. In the Second Ninja World War that followed, Nagato awakened his eyes. According to Uchiha Madara's original plan, Obito went to guide Nagato, and finally induced him to use the legendary round revolving heaven technique. Thus, at the expense of life, Uchiha Madara was resurrected in its heyday. Then let him take back Rinnegan, and with the most peak strength, complete the manipulation of the 9 big-tailed beasts in the entire ninja world, thereby realizing Project Tsuki no Mi. This plan is of course perfect. That's why Obito has spared no effort to practice it for so many years. However, this series of plans, just a few days ago, after Qing Yu led Orochimaru to report Uchiha Obito to Akatsuki, he completely failed. Obito's heart is very clear, since then, it's impossible for Nagato to trust him anymore. It is even more impossible to resurrect Uchiha Madara at the expense of his own life. This still means, the plan of reincarnation has basically been broken. And now, the plan to take Rinnegan has failed again, and wanting to directly resurrect Madara, the true peak period, is completely dreaming. Thus it seems that I can only hope for that impure world reincarnation. Obito's eyes flickered slightly, compared to Rinnegan's Nagato and Golden Eye's Qing Yu. Orochimaru was easier to deal with. Really, this time it was a bit sloppy. Obito felt the faint pain from his body, a faint haze appeared in his eyes, his face was ugly. He didn't expect to kill him, this Qing Yu is so strong to such an outrageous level. Even the invincible fox ghost of Suya Palace was forced to use his whole cards, and he has not yet taken any advantage. Such strength, what is he doing in Akatsuki's organization? Experience life. And, how did the fox ghost respond? I just had the power to offset Qing Yu's 5 swirling dragons of destruction, but he still chose to take me away? Obito's eyes flickered slightly, and his heart moved slightly. Then, while enduring the pain from his body, he slowly raised his head and looked at Qing Yu in front of him again. Now, advertisement there is a problem he wants to understand. That is how much the difference in strength between the fox ghost and Qing Yu is. And this question, in fact, the first appearance was just after the fox ghost appeared by his side and helped him offset Qing Yu's pressure. The reason why he hadn't thought about it once, it was because I felt that the strength of the fox ghost should be properly above Qing Yu, and there was no need for exquisiteness. But now he found out good fart, Qing Yu's old yin is better. The hidden strength is like an iceberg under the sea, and it is unpredictable. Even after witnessing the battle just now, Obito couldn't draw a clear conclusion at all. According to their respective records, Fox Ghost once easily defeated Uchiha Itachi, Hitaki Kakashi, Might Guy, and Blue Lightning, Raikage, and just now, he defeated Pen 6 Paths who owns Rinnegan. The scary thing is, in every battle, he hardly suffered any injuries and was completely crushed unilaterally. Whether it is Uchiha Itachi, who is good at pupil technique, or Raikage, who is very good at attacking power, there is almost no chance to fight back and get beaten on the ground. This kind of powerful record cannot be said to be dazzling, and it has basically fully realized his actual strength. However, although Qing Yu's reputation in the ninja world is not as big as the Fox Ghost, his record is equally terrifying. Before joining Akatsuki, he easily defeated Sasori of the S-rank rebel Akasago. After joining Akatsuki, he faintly defeated the members of a series of Akatsuki organizations such as Kakuzu and Orochimaru. In the end, he alone stunned the entire Sanagakure and killed 4th Kazekage Luosha and One-Tail Sho, Crane. Objectively speaking, this kind of record is basically no less than the Fox Ghost. The strength of the two should logically be equal. But, in the battle just now, the ultimate trump card trusted by the Fox Ghost is her beast god Yawing. However, Qing Yu on the opposite side blocked it with a palm, and then, with a powerful spell called 5 Swirling Dragons of Destruction, it was easy to kill in seconds. Even the Fox Ghost himself was bombarded by 5 Swirling Dragons of Destruction. Finally, the conclusion of Qing Yu Fox Ghost can already be basically determined. Such a contrast, naturally, Obito couldn't understand it. After hesitating in silence for a while, he just stared at the Fox Ghost Qing Yu, with his always low voice, condensely said. That Qing Yu, how strong is his true strength? This time, even you are not an opponent at all, Fox Ghost? Obito asked lowly. The reason why he came to this conclusion so surely. Apart from the battles I saw, the more important reason was of course that the Fox Ghost chose to retreat. Even he, who has always been arrogant, escaped for the first time. There is nothing more persuasive than this, at this time. After hearing this, the Fox Ghost Qing Yu on this side was taken aback. Under the mask, there was a dumbfounding look on his face. How strong is Qing Yu? This guy, do you want me to blow myself? Qing Yu chuckled in his heart. The result of this battle. Of course it is the result achieved by his manipulation. After all, Zanpakutō's unliberated spirit skeleton Qing Yu, how could it be possible to beat Qing Yu after Hollow? It can be said that the two are not above the same order of magnitude at all. In the battle just now, if Qing Yu really wants to be serious, with the Fox Ghost power after Hollow, the skill can defeat the Ghost clone in 10 seconds. However, he did not choose to do so, because he wants Qing Yu to win. Fox Ghost, after all, it is his disguised identity, which has no substantive significance. And, Qing Yu, is his true identity in this world. Not to mention, Orochimaru was watching this battle. In the eyes of that guy, Qing Yu is the supreme leader of the Suya Palace, the existence of which is called the King of Suya. Since he is the king, of course he can't be forced out. And, when defeating the Fox Ghost through acting, by the way, Uchiha Obito will be shocked, and it will kill two birds with one stone. Advertisement thus, presumably, Obito will not come to interfere with Xiao's tail beast plan casually. Qing Yu can naturally feel more at ease. Moreover, you can also sell your personal affection by asking the Fox Ghost to save him. Why not? As for why not kill him directly, that naturally has a purpose. First of all, Uchiha Obito, as one of the most critical roles in the Hokage world, has always been an important NPC carrying a lot of system side tasks. If he dies, Qing Yu is afraid that he will lose a large wave of rewards directly afterwards. Therefore, even if it is to squeeze out his value, of course he has to survive. And the second point, it's even simpler. Today's Qing Yu, comprehensive strength, has basically reached the ceiling below the 6 paths level. We can even say, when he turned on Bankai, even a ninja at the 6 paths level, he could still take the same shot. Under this strength gap, for Qing Yu, most ninjas from various countries are nothing more than bugs. Even Uchiha Obito, who owns Kamui in wood style, is just a slightly larger bug for Qing Yu. There is no need for Qing Yu to crush a bug specifically, it will only make the world more boring. In other words, let this bug work for himself, isn't he fragrant? Thought of here, Qing Yu looked at Obito again, a faint smile appeared under the mask. Yes, the reason why he saved Obito deliberately. Of course, I want to take advantage of this opportunity to win a wave. After all, for several years, it's been a long time since he hired new workers. Thought of here, Qing Yu decided to give the answer to the question, staring at Obito in the mask of the Fox Ghost, and said intently. Are you talking about the strength gap? It's not easy to say, after all, that man's power attributes are not the same as ours, and it is difficult to judge. I can't understand, but I was also shocked. If you learn more about him, you might not lose. Qing Yu flickered and said in a very vague tone, however. After the voice fell, Obito was startled for a moment, then suddenly nodded in understanding, and whispered as if to himself. That's true too, as I told you before. That Qing Yu controls a pair of blood succession boundaries named Evil King True Eyes. Although I don't know where it came from, the abilities he demonstrated are all very strange and outrageous. I felt it personally before, indeed, it's hard to figure out. Obito analyzed thoughtfully. In fact, 4.6 he could understand what the Fox Ghost said. After all, when he first came into contact with Qing Yu's true eye of the Evil King, it could be said that he was more reluctant than the Fox Ghost. Moreover, more than 10 years have passed, his new abilities are still emerging in an endless stream, which is so ridiculous. That guy, is it a ninjutsu release machine? At the same time. Far beyond the country of rain on the other side. Country of fire, in Konoha village, while Obito over there was discussing the plan with the Fox Ghost. Today's Konoha village, but suddenly ushered in a few different guests. They are from Sanagakure. The leader among them was actually the 2 children of 4th Kazekage Luosha, who had come to Konoha to take part in the Chunin exam. Tamari, Konkuro, at this moment, in Hokage's office. 5th Hokage Tsunade is sitting in the office, listening to the narration of the people in front of him. As the narrative progresses, her brows suddenly frowned tighter and tighter. Finally, his face suddenly condensed, and suddenly he said. Wait, what did you say? The organization named, Xiao, is plundering the tail beast? Chapter 222 Akatsuki, officially shot at the 5 ninja villages, seeking subscription. Advertisement Tsunade has become 5th Hokage for 3 years. 3 years ago, in one night, she met a man who was once Konoha Sanin, Jiraiya. And a blonde kid who is next to Jiraiya, who claims to be Hokage's genin, Uzumaki Naruto. She didn't want to be Hokage, under Jiraiya's soft and hard foam and Naruto's disdain, finally reluctantly decided to take up this responsibility again. However, so far, as a shadow, she has been leading the recovery of Konoha. After all, after the Chunin exam rebellion occurred 3 years ago, Konoha village was in an extremely weak period and was not able to pick up. Konoha can only continue to protect the new generation of ninjas to grow up. Then, Konoha had to build an alliance with Sanagakure once again. Even if Sand Shinobi participated in the planning of Konoha's collapse, they must not forget it completely, and instead began to promote the friendly development of the two countries. But, fortunately, in these 3 years, for some reason, Sand Shinobi seemed to be extraordinarily docile. Various trades with Konoha have also become very smooth, so that the diplomatic relations between the two villages have become closer. Although each has experienced drastic changes and troughs. However, after adding them together, the strength will not lose to the other powerful Thunder Country Cloud Shinobi and the arrogant Earth Country Rock Shinobi. Thus, the friendly alliance has continued to this day. However, today's Tsunade never expected, Sanagakure unexpectedly sent envoy ninjas suddenly and issued an emergency signal for help. Then, Tsunade, who was planning to sneak off to gamble, had to suppress the itch in his heart and ran to meet the envoy in person. After all, now the entire ninja world knows, Sand Shinobi and Konoha are all partners in the same pair of pants. Sand Shinobi has difficulty asking for help. Konoha, as an ally, naturally has to help whether it is reasonable or reasonable. Otherwise, if the pants fall off O2, then it is more than just a matter of reputation. Shame is a small thing, losing the village is the big deal. After all, once the Musha alliance collapsed, it will definitely become the target of Iwagakure or Cloud Shinobi village. Even, to the extreme, it is possible for them to relaunch the war. So of course Tsunade dare not care. Although the people sent by Sand Shinobi seem to be just children who have not grown up. However, she still listened to them carefully, however. Just after listening to their opening remarks, Tsunade froze instantly. Wait, what did you say? The organization named, Shao, is plundering the tail beast? She subconsciously uttered, directly interrupted the other party's words. The surprise and confusion in my heart were completely written on his face. And after hearing this, Tamari on this side was startled for a moment, then nodded seriously, looked at Tsunade, and said. Yes, Master Hokage. This is what our Sand Shinobi ninjas heard after witnessing that aerial battle. At the time, the intruder was a boy wearing a red cloud and black robe with a yellow ponytail. He calls himself Akatsuki, uses an ninjutsu similar to explosion, and controls the explosive clay to fight. While fighting our agent Fukage Gaara, it seems to have accidentally revealed that his purpose is to capture Gaara itself, that is, the one-tailed Shuhei in his body. Tamari spoke methodically, in a very respectful tone. Certainly not respectful. After all, this time the Sand Shinobi came to ask Konoha for help. Only when the attitude is lowered can they continue to negotiate. What's more, the person in front of you is not only 5th Hokage, the highest authority in Konoha village, but also one of Konoha Sannin who has already become famous in the second ninja world. In terms of seniority, she is older than her father Luo Sha. Although it looks young, but Obasan is already in his 50s. Of course there can be no disrespect at all, and at the moment. After hearing what Tamari said, Tsunade frowned slightly. Not because she noticed any clues but because she caught nothing. That's right. Tamari's words, although the situation on the scene has been clarified. Advertisement, but in fact, there is almost no useful information about the member of Shao. Red cloud and black robe? A teenager with a yellow ponytail? Good at using explosive ninjutsu and detonating clay combat? Based on these points alone, it's really not very good to target. After all, the red clouds and black robes are remarkable. This is the general uniform in Akatsuki's organization. When Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kisame invaded Konoha, they were wearing uniforms like this. Although Tsunade hadn't witnessed this incident with his own eyes, he had heard a few words from Jiraiya after all. And the remaining explosive ninjutsu, is it something similar to the explosion style, blood inheritance limit? If it is like this person might come from Iwagakure. After all, in the past few years, Iwagakure had explosion-style ninja troops. While Tsunade is thinking, suddenly, a ray of light flashed through her mind. And many more. Catch the tail beast Jinchuriki? Tsunade's breathing stopped for an instant, and his pupils shrank slightly. She suddenly thought of something. Then, she just took over the position of 5th Hokage. Soon after, Jiraiya left the village with Uzumaki Naruto. Naturally, it is said to the outside world to take him to practice well, master's own power. But in fact, Jiraiya had already told Tsunade at that time. The terrorist organization, Akatsuki, that Uchiha Itachi belongs to, seems to be thinking of Uzumaki Naruto and Nine Tails. And their previous invasion was precisely to forcibly capture Naruto, who is Nine Tails Jinchuriki. Thinking back to the incident that happened in Sanagakure this time. It is not difficult to see among them, there is definitely an ulterior conspiracy. Tsunade's eyes sank slightly, exuding a hint of light. In these years, although she has stayed in Konoha and never went out. But I also know, this mysterious Akatsuki organization is a mercenary organization that has been wandering around the edge of the ninja world, responsible for collecting money and fighting. Unexpectedly, did they reach out to the 5 great nations now? Really ambitious. Thought of here, Tsunade looked at Tamari again, and said in a concentrated voice. What about after that? Have you Sand Shinobi tracked down their escape? Tsunade asked solemnly. The most important goal now is of course to rescue Gaara from Sand Shinobi. After all, Gaara is not just Jinchuriki, he is also the supreme commander of Sanagakure today, acting as Fengying for 5th generation. Fengying was taken away, it was no small matter, of course you have to check the trace. However, after hearing this, Tamari suddenly showed a somewhat tangled expression, with complicated eyes. See this, Kankuro on the side suddenly sighed, and then smiled helplessly. It's true, Lord Tsunade. The war at that time, because it happened too quickly and violently. Even the senior consultant Chiendai mother-in-law in our village died in the hands of the enemy within a few rounds. When our chasing ninjas want to rush over to investigate. Enemy, it's gone. After Kankuro's voice fell. All the sand shinobi ninjas around suddenly showed a somewhat depressed look, their faces were ugly. Shame. I really lost my lord. Fengying was lost, and advisors were dead. Their huge ninja village didn't even find a trace of the enemy's escape. This matter, not to mention that Konoha sounds ashamed. Even if they are Sand Shinobi's own people, they don't have a lot of self-confidence when they think of it. And at the moment, after hearing this, naturally Tsunade was also slightly startled. Advertisement, of course, she didn't expect Sand Shinobi to be defeated so thoroughly. Can be said to be exhausted, but not to blame them. If the strength of the enemy is not in the same dimension, it is indeed difficult to predict the situation. Thought of here, Tsunade couldn't help showing a wry smile. After a while, after taking a breath, she looked at the ninjas of Sand Shinobi and said in a condensed voice. I see. You guys go down and rest for now. I will immediately figure out a way to arrange for Konoha's ninjas to assist you. Thank you Tsunade-sama, thank you Hokage-sama. After a while, the Sanagakure people left Hokage's office. And at the moment, Tsunade sat on his office chair, folded his hands, and frowned deeply. Shizune stood still, looking at Tsunade worriedly, not daring to say a word. But at this moment, suddenly, Tsunade stood up suddenly. Seeing this picture, Shizune was naturally taken aback and subconsciously wondered. Master Tsunade, do you have any orders? Heard that? Tsunade didn't look back. While walking forward, he said in a condensed voice. Go, Shizune. Come and find Jiraiya with me. That guy has been back for so long, and has been idle for a long time, right? Ah, good. Jing 060 sounded for a moment, and then suddenly reacted. Have been in trouble for a long time. Is Tsunade-sama going to talk to Pervy Sage? In the tea house. In a private room, Jiraiya was holding a pen, writing something with a smile on his face. It seems to be the content of the latest series of novels. But at this moment, Tsunade and Shizune walked in from outside. Without saying hello, the first time after entering, Tsunade spoke bluntly. Jiraiya, stop writing. The Shao organization you are following has new developments. Ah. Jiraiya, who was halfway through writing, his face became stiff, and the pen in his hand broke directly. The next moment, he raised his head dumbfounded and looked at Tsunade. What are you talking about, Akatsuki? That's right. Tsunade walked over here, and explained solemnly. Not long ago, Sand Shinobi sent an envoy ninja to ask for help. Their 5th Kazekage and one-tail Shuhei Jinchuriki Gaara was taken away by a young ninja who called himself Akatsuki. At present, the whereabouts are unknown. At this point, Jiraiya's pupils shrank suddenly. One-tail Shohei's Jinchuriki, taken away by Akatsuki. Jiraiya's breathing stopped involuntarily, he suddenly remembered. Just 3 years ago, when he was fighting Uchiha Itachi, the information revealed in Uchiha Itachi's words. Akatsuki is collecting tail beasts. Jiraiya suddenly raised his eyes. Spray. Unexpectedly after a full 3 years, did Akatsuki transfer the target of the tail beast to Sand Shinobi's one-tail Shuhei? Jiraiya's heart was slightly calm, of course he knew what it meant. That mysterious rebel organization, Dawn, maybe it's time to officially attack the 5 ninja villages. Chapter 223 Break the pattern of Ninja World and replace the 5 ninja village, seeking subscription. Advertisement in fact, in the past 3 years. Apart from leading the practice of Uzumaki Naruto, Jiraiya is of course not idle. He has been secretly tracing information about Akatsuki. And, it is also paying attention to the trends of various countries. But unfortunately, since Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kisame failed to invade Konoha, Akatsuki seemed to be lying down. He never made any shots against Juka from other ninja villages' tail orcs. On the other hand, they seem to continue to perform bounty missions such as war mercenaries. Constantly accumulating money. This behavior once made Jiraiya very confused. Could it be that Akatsuki has given up on the tail beast capture plan that Uchiha Itachi mentioned at the beginning? Or is it true that Uchiha Itachi's information was fake? Regarding these 2 points, of course, Jiraiya cannot be verified. After all, Uchiha Itachi, as the rebel of the Tukwan clan, what he said is indeed too mixed to be completely trusted. But that being said, Jiraiya never gave up on his investigation. After all, although he has an optimistic personality, he can't look at this kind of big event in the shinobi from an optimistic perspective. And until today, after hearing the news from Tsunade, he can finally confirm. Dawn did not give up the tail beast capture plan at all. They just delayed the start of the plan. No, it's not right. It's better to say they're preparing closely for the plan. That's why this time, I was able to take Sanagakure's one-tail Shuhei Jinchuriki directly so quickly and accurately. What a terrible organization. Jiraiya squinted her eyes, her face suddenly serious. After seeing this picture, Shizune on the side suddenly couldn't help being surprised. One to say one, this was the first time she saw this horny toad sage, showing such a serious and low expression, it was almost like a change of person. And Tsunade, of course, also noticed this. She walked to the opposite side of Jiraiya and sat down on her own, while concentrating. What's wrong? Do you have any clues? The voice fell. Jiraiya shook his head subconsciously, then let out a sigh of relief, slowly saying. Actually, I have been tracking Akatsuki's trace. However, they have never found a suitable breakthrough. I didn't expect that this time, they would make such a big disturbance again. While talking, Jiraiya showed a troublesome look, scratched his head, looked at Tsunade, and said. This time, 3 years have passed. They did not shy away from taking the tail beast Jinchuriki forcibly in the name of Akatsuki. It seems to be ready to take all the tail beasts in one go. Jiraiya said condensely, and after the words fell. The pupils of Tsunade and Shizune who were facing each other suddenly shrank at the same time, and they froze completely. What? Oh, take all the tail beasts? Tsunade repeated incredulously. To be honest, before hearing Jiraiya's words, she had never expected that it would be so severe. It's a bit of a joke already however, at this moment, Jiraiya's serious expression did not contain any jokes. He just nodded, rubbed his fingers, and analyzed seriously. Advertisement. In those days, Master First Hokage Senju Hashirama distributed the 9-tailed beasts in order to check and balance the big ninja villages. Sanagakure got 1 tail, Konoha village got 9 tails. Now, Sanagakure's 1 tail has been successfully taken away by them, plus their action to take Naruto 9 tails 3 years ago. It's not difficult to see, their purpose may be all 9-tailed beasts from the beginning. Even, for further analysis they know, maybe I want to use the power of the tail beast to directly break the existing ninja world pattern. Stare. At the end, Jiraiya tapped his hand on the table. It almost hit the hearts of Tsunade and Shizune. The two of them froze in an instant. Before coming here, they did feel that the matter might be serious. However, I didn't expect it, it's so serious, using tail beasts. Break the existing pattern of ninja world? Are you crazy? A terrorist organization formed by a group of rebels, do they still want to replace the 5 big ninja villages? Both Tsunade and Shizune's faces became difficult to look. Such words, so, not only Sand Shinobi's 1 tail. Maybe it won't be long before Konoha's 9 tails Jinchuriki Uzumaki Naruto will be attacked. It seems that we really can't just sit idly by. Tsunade's face became more serious, he leaned forward, staring at Jiraiya, and said. In those records of your past, have you found the location of Akatsuki's base? I want to take this opportunity. Together with Sand Shinobi, we will directly encircle them and interrupt their plan. Tsunade said categorically. In the face of such severe circumstances, she always acted vigorously and resolutely. After all, this time, Sanagakure has already asked for help at the door of the house, and they all have to mobilize people to help quickly. Otherwise, with every second delay, the life of that agent Fungying Gaara is more likely to be in danger. Although they only took Gaara away at the time, however, if their purpose is to pull out the beast, there is no doubt that Gaara, who is Jinchuriki, will definitely die on the spot. If that were the case, the situation would be too urgent. However, at this moment, after hearing what Tsunade said, Jiraiya was slightly dumb at first, and then showed a helpless wry smile, shook his head and said. I haven't found it, but the encirclement and suppression plan you mentioned is a bit reckless. Deliver? Tsunade was taken aback for a moment. She didn't expect that she would be called reckless by Jiraiya. And just when she was surprised, it was seen that Jiraiya put away a smile again, and said solemnly. As far as I know, the Akatsuki organization is not an ordinary rebel organization. The members inside, almost without exception, are S-rank rebels from major ninja villages, and their strength is extraordinary. Uchiha Itachi will not talk about it for the time being, you probably also know his strength. In my past investigations, it seems that even Orochimaru was once a member of Akatsuki's organization. So, if you want to wipe them out completely, if we rely solely on the combined efforts of our 2 Shinobu villages, it might be difficult to do it. Jiraiya spread his hands and said helplessly. As soon as this word came out, Tsunade was suddenly dumb and understood. At this point, she almost ignored it. If you think about it, it's true. If the strength is not strong, how can it be possible to defeat Sand Shinobi's Gaara and the 1000-generation mother-in-law, and then Xiaoju will leave? This kind of strength is estimated to be a proper cage level for any Shinobu village. And in the Akatsuki organization, there must be more than 3 or 4 members with such strength, and even 8 or 9 are possible. Advertisement. With Sunagakure's weak strength and Konoha, who is now unreceived, it is really difficult to fight against them. When Tsunade is thinking about paying, Shizune on the side is naturally aware of this. She suddenly thought of something, looked at Jiraiya, and said carefully. If the strength of the 2 Shinobu villages is not enough, then what if we join the other 3 ninja villages to form an alliance? If Akatsuki's collection targets also include them, then we only need to unite with them and we will definitely win over Akatsuki, right? Shizune analyzed it seriously, although she doesn't speak much at all times. But, having been with Tsunade for so long, she certainly still has some basic war thinking. The alliance of the 5 powers was her unexpected plan. However, as soon as this word came out, not waiting for Jiraiya on the other side to speak, Tsunade here shook his head solemnly and then slowly said. This method is also not feasible. For the time being, we don't know if their tail beast was captured like Sand Shinobi. Just the conflicts between us and the three countries of thunder, earth, and water in the past few years are destined to not unite easily. Tsunade said helplessly. As a person who had personally participated in the Second Ninja World War, she deeply knew how deep the hatred between the big ninja villages was. And the reason why she was helpless was precisely because of this. As the new Konoha 5th Hokage, she also wants to repair relations with other shinobu villages and get back together. But for the time being, it is still impossible. Heard that? Shizune was slightly taken aback. At this moment, the opposite Jiraiya nodded and said, yes. At this time, unless they have been able to recognize Akatsuki's threat. Otherwise, the alliance would be impossible. The voice fell. There was a long silence in the room. The three of them thought each other. Of course the expressions are also different, until a moment later. Jiraiya suddenly thought of something, his eyes moved for an instant, and then he said solemnly. And many more, perhaps, I thought of a breakthrough. What? Tsunade looked over immediately and said quickly. But Jiraiya suddenly turned around and took out a small brown notebook from behind him. I saw a few words written on it, and the handwriting was very tumbled, but it was vaguely recognizable that it seemed to be something similar to some kind of travel notes. When Shizune and Tsunade were surprised, Jiraiya flipped through the look very seriously, and after a while, his eyes lit up and stopped the flipping hand. At the next moment, he turned the little book around, the king's, and said in a condensed voice. This is my essay when I visited the ninja world. In a tavern in Earth Country, I once ran into a few ninjas who claimed to be from Rain Shinobi Village. And from the chat after they got drunk, it seemed that a major event was mentioned. Talking, Jiraiya paused slightly before continuing. In the past few years, Rain Shinobi Village has had a major event unknown to the outside world. It is said that the original leader Hanzo of the Salamander was killed by a rebellious ninja, and his subordinates either surrendered or were all annihilated. Since then, Rain Shinobi Village has completely changed its ruler. As soon as Jiraiya said this, Shizune and Tsunade were taken aback at the same time. What's the meaning? Why did you suddenly mention a change in Rain Shinobi Village? Isn't the topic about Akatsuki? When the two were surprised. Jiraiya raised his eyes slightly, lowered his voice, and said. Do you remember, during the Chunin exam, there was once a very mysterious Rain Shinobi ninja, who claimed to be a swordsman teacher, and led 3 students to Konoha. Its name is Qing Yu. Bo, Chapter 224I, Shing Yu, Wish World Nuclear Peace, Seeking Subscription? Advertisement what? Shing Yu. Tsunade and Shizune were taken aback at the same time. This name is relatively unfamiliar to them. After all. When the two of them followed Jiraiya back to Konoha, the Chunin exam incident had already been completely suppressed. Even after succeeding Hokage, not many people mentioned it. As for the name, Qing Yu, they just heard Jiraiya say by chance, it seems to be a mysterious existence who knows Konoha's history very well. When the two were confused, Jiraiya still explained in an orderly manner. There are some things, maybe no one has told you. This Qing Yu, in fact, from any aspect, it was the most mysterious existence in that exam. Once, before the Chunin exam, he easily suppressed Kakashi's 7th class with the weird Muji ninjutsu, and his strength was very strong. Although he claimed to be a swordsman teacher, he never drew the sword across his waist from beginning to end. Also, as an outsider, he also talked about Konoha's past history. It's like seeing it with my own eyes. Quote. Exclamation mark. Quote. Following Jiraiya's narrative. Both Tsunade and Shizune's eyes suddenly became solemn. But Jiraiya paused, picked up the teacup on the table and gave a light report before continuing. Such a mysterious person, at the time, naturally aroused the teacher's idea. So, after discussing with Army Master Nara, Mr. Sarutobi dispatched Konoha's Anbu ninja to monitor him. At the same time, a Konoha team was also sent to Rain Shinobi Village for snake powder verification. However, something weird happened. Jiraiya's eyes moved slightly, his body leaned forward, and he whispered. That morning, the Anbu ninjas who were in charge of monitoring Qing Yu were dispatched. However, on the night of the same day, the huge Konoha subversive operation began directly, with almost no signs. And then, an unnamed huge summoning beast appeared and destroyed Hokage Rock, creating great chaos. The Anbu team responsible for monitoring the Rain Shinobi ninja was also found dead the next day. It is suspected that 060 had died in Orochimaru's hands. It's even more bizarre, when our personnel finally arrived at Rain Shinobi Village, verified the identity of the Qing Yu, and mentioned that they wanted to meet the leader of Rain Shinobi, the other ninja suddenly changed his face and refused with a particularly tough attitude. Jiraiya said solemnly. Hearing this, of course the two Tsunade could not help holding their breath. The feelings in their hearts, of course, also began to be weird. That's right, it's weird. The whole incident that Jiraiya stated was always full of weird auras. It's like implying something faintly at this moment. Jiraiya suddenly raised his eyes, and said sharply. That's right. As you think, since 3 years ago, Mr. Luju and I have been suspicious. This Rain Shinobi ninja named Shing Yu may have participated in Konoha's subversive operation in secret. Moreover, his appearance is very likely to represent a mysterious force in Rain Shinobi Village. At the end, Jiraiya almost uttered a word. Quote exclamation mark question mark. Quote. However, after hearing this, Tsunade and Shizune were shocked at the same time. This inference is too bold. What kind of brain circuit is this? Can these clues be linked together? Jiraiya really deserves to be Jiraiya. Although it seems lustful and lazy and ignored, but the thinking is still as close as ever. It was a pity that after staying for a while, Tsunade opened his mouth in a complicated manner. You mean, he might be a member of Akatsuki? And Akatsuki's base is very likely to be in Rain Shinobi Village? Tsunade asked incredulously. And hearing this, Jiraiya suddenly closed his eyes pretending to be an expert, and slowly shook his head, saying, "Can't be sure, but indeed, as far as I know. The time when Akatsuki first started appearing in the Shinobi, ACEG, it seems to be very close to the time of the Great Change in Rain Shinobi Village. And Rain Shinobi Village, it seems that there is no need to drive away all our mission ninjas just because of an ordinary teacher like him. This can only show that there must be some problems in Rain Shinobi Village. And if this is the case, ADVERTISEMENT, then all doubts can be explained clearly." Jiraiya said slowly. Until then, he let out a sigh of relief without showing a trace, as if he had finally said everything. After hearing this, Tsunade fell into silence again. It wasn't until a moment later that his face was particularly solemn. "I see. I will arrange manpower to go to Rain Shinobi Village to investigate." It's not too late. Talking, Tsunade stood up immediately. However, before she could turn around and leave, Jiraiya here suddenly stretched out her hand and directly grabbed her. "Wait, Tsunade." Tsunade looked down in surprise. But seeing this, Jiraiya's eyes turned out to be extra firm. He stared at Tsunade without evasiveness and said in an unprecedented serious tone. "This time the Rain Shinobi Village exploration mission may be very dangerous. Ordinary Konoha shinobi, it is impossible to be Akatsuki's opponent. Even if they learn the information, they cannot be safely sent back. So let me go." As soon as the voice fell, Shizune and Tsunade were taken aback at the same time. Immediately after, Tsunade stared up subconsciously and said in a deep voice, "No, because of danger, you." However, she was only halfway through. Jiraiya suddenly raised her hand and interrupted her, and then smiled helplessly. "In fact, this matter, as early as 3 years ago, when the teacher passed away, I should have done it. However, at that time, because Konoha was in a precarious situation, the Mito consultant rejected my plan in order to let me stay and stabilize Konoha. But now, it's all right." Jiraiya closed his travel notes and chuckled lightly. "Now, you have become 5th Hokage, and Konoha has been stabilized inside and out. At this time, let me do something for you, also regarded as one. For Konoha and Sarutobi's expectations." Jiraiya raised his head, looked at Tsunade, smiled and grinned, and said confidently, "Don't worry, the agent Feng Ying who Sanagakure was abducted. I will also investigate by the way." The screen turns. Came to Rain Shinobi Village. The precarious rainstorm is still going on, but the storm has disappeared. After the departure of the Fox Ghost and Uchiha Obito, Rain Shinobi Village once again returned to its former tranquility. Inside a room in an iron building, now, 3 figures are standing in it. Qing Yu, who was standing on the left, had calm eyes and no waves. On the other hand, Konan, who was standing on the right, had his eyes lowered, not knowing what he was thinking. But, the one standing among them at this moment. But not the majestic hockey leader of the past, Heavenly Wei Pain. But a scrawny red-haired young man. At this moment, with black iron rods all over his body, he looked shocking. And under his red hair, a pair of lavender Rinnegan, especially eye-catching. He is the actual leader of Akatsuki organization and the manipulator of 6 Paths Pain. Nagato. There was still silence in the room. It was not until a moment later that Nagato, who was above the instrument, slowly lowered his eyes, with a complex expression, and said in a low voice. "You must be disappointed to see this look of me." He muttered as if to himself, but he spoke to Qing Yu. No way. Although he didn't want anyone except Konan to know his true appearance. Advertisement. But, in the battle that just passed, Qing Yu witnessed the existence of 6 pennons with his own eyes. In other words, it can't be concealed anymore. It can't be said that Pain has 5 brothers, and Rinnegan is also mass-produced, right? Such a lie, without being dismantled by others, it will be self-defeating. Then, without any choice, Nagato had to use the mouth of Heavenly Dao Pen to reveal his secrets to Qing Yu. If in the past, he may still have certain doubts about Qing Yu. But now, there was no doubt in his heart. Such a strength is enough to force the Fox Ghost back, and easily kill the existence of Uchiha Obito in seconds. To be honest, he was far beyond the remaining members of Akatsuki. To know, even if Nagato used all of Rinnegan's efforts, he couldn't hurt the Fox Ghost on the opposite side. Moreover, Mangekyo Sharingan of Obito possesses extremely powerful spacetime ninjutsu. This is basically enough to explain that the gap is basically Qing Yu Fox Ghost Nagato. And now, even if he possesses such strength, he has never betrayed Guo Shao. That is enough to show that he is trustworthy. This moment, Nagato can't help but think back. It seems that Konan did say that Qing Yu's true eye of the evil king seems to have surpassed Rinnegan's creation eye. At the beginning, Nagato was still a little unbelievable. After witnessing this battle with his own eyes, he had to believe it. After a moment of silence, Qing Yu here raised his eyes slightly and said with a light smile. "Disappointed? Not really. I have always admired those who devote their lives to ideals. Unlike me, you can only be a salted fish." As soon as Qing Yu's words fell, the opposite Nagato was taken aback for a moment, and then, on the contrary, he felt a little bit embarrassed. This, although he is indeed working hard for the ideal of world peace, it is the first time that some people say so. After all, as the leader of Shao, he heard more about the topic of war. After a long silence, Nagato then raised his eyes and looked at Qing Yu in front. This time, his expression was solemn, as if he had been thinking about it for a long time, before he said in a condensed voice. Qing Yu sang, "Actually, I don't know. Why would a powerful ninja like you be willing to stay in the dawn? Obviously you have always longed for a free life. Furthermore, you are not like everyone else, you have a traitorous identity. With your strength, you can live well in any place, it seems unnecessary to be like this." Nagato said calmly, and at the end, he lowered his eyes again. To be honest, this was the biggest question he had in his heart after witnessing Qing Yu's powerful strength. A salted fish who takes time out to swim in the mountains and water, and especially likes to fish, why should he stay in Shao? As soon as the words fell, Konan on the side was taken aback for a moment. She also had no idea that Nagato would ask this for the first time after seeing Qing Yu in his true form for the first time. The scene fell silent again, the air seemed to begin to calm down. At this time, the opposite Qing Yu raised his eyebrows slightly, revealing a leisurely smile, the golden pupils flashed slightly, and said with a light smile. "This question is very strange. I was invited to join Shao, wasn't it you? Moreover, can't salted fish have dreams? Just like you. I, Qing Yu, also have a wish, that is, the world's nuclear peace." Chapter 225 The positive that surpasses the 5 great nations, and the negative that bears darkness, seeking subscription. Advertisement. As soon as Qing Yu's voice fell, in an instant, there was no sound in the room. Whether it was Konan or Nagato, at this moment, all were stunned. They stared at Qing Yu intently, the expressions on his face were almost exactly the same. Even, they all thought they had heard it wrong. What's the situation? He has always been at ease. There is such a wish, to know, since Qing Yu joined Shao for so many years. He basically never talked about Akatsuki's goal. Regardless of Akatsuki's assembly or mission, Qing Yu is always as calm as Shisui. As if not disturbed by foreign objects. But, Nagato and Konan know without a doubt. In these years, Qing Yu has been practicing silently, seeming to be moving towards a certain goal. Because of this, his strength will be like riding on a rocket, constantly rising at all times, until now he is invincible. But, the two of them did not expect, that goal in Qing Yu's heart turned out to be world peace? Konan and Nagato looked at each other, and both saw a weird look in each other's eyes. Then, after tangling for a while, Konan turned his eyes again and looked at Qing Yu in front of him, with complex eyes. "Qing Yu-kun, the reason why you are willing to stay in Shaozhong. Is it also for us to complete the peace plan of the tail beast weapon?" Konan asked softly, and Nagato also looked over suddenly and solemnly. To be honest, if it was before, Nagato doesn't care about other people's thoughts. After all, he, who has the eyes of a fairy, thinks that his strength is basically invincible. It is also a matter of time before the tail beast weapon is completed. However, after today's battle, his fantasy was completely and severely shattered. It was just a fox ghost in the Zai Palace, who easily killed 6 paths pain in seconds, demonstrating a terrifying reign that has never been seen before. At that time, if there was no Qing Yu to save the field. I'm afraid now, he has died of his opponent. Even Rain Shinobi Village and Akatsuki will be destroyed with it. Therefore, now it can be said, the existence of Qing Yu is the only pillar of Shao organization. At the same time, he is also Akatsuki's ultimate trump card. Therefore, Nagato pays special attention to his thoughts. People with such terrifying power undoubtedly also have the power to control this world. If real peace in the ninja world can be achieved with his help, then it will be the picture that Nagato is most looking forward to. At this time, after Qing Yu heard Konan's question, he raised his eyebrows. Immediately after thinking for a moment, he chuckled and said, "Half right. Read?" As soon as the voice fell. Now, not only Konan, but Nagato was also stunned. What's the meaning? Is Konan only half right? The two immediately stared at Qing Yu in confusion, waiting for the answer. At this moment, Qing Yu raised his eyes gently, swept his gaze across the faces of Konan and Nagato, and chuckled softly. "Since you have all asked about this, then I will have a showdown. The reason why I stay in the dawn, I really want to work with you to create a peaceful world without war. And this is also my original intention to join Akatsuki. But, the peaceful world in my plan, it's not achieved through what you call the Tail Beast Weapon Project." Qing Yu's faint voice fell, advertisement. In an instant, Nagato and Konan were stunned almost at the same time. What? Peace is not achieved by means of tail beast weapons? Nagato's eyes were slightly startled, and then suddenly became a little complicated. How is this possible? Yahiko, he has already proved that love and communication can't change the world of shinobi. On the contrary, in this cruel world of forbearance, those who believe in love and communication often feel the deepest pain. Because I know all this, I just want to make ultimate weapons by collecting tail beasts, so that people all over the world can feel the pain of war with its power. Because only in this way will they cherish the hard-won peace. Nagato stared at Qing Yu, he spoke word by word in an unprecedented heavy tone. And Konan on the side listened. His eyes trembled suddenly, and his eyes dropped slightly. Although Nagato's thinking is a bit extreme for her. But, at least for now, she also couldn't think of a way to refute Nagato. It is even more impossible to come up with a more direct peace concept than the tail beast weapon. However, at this time, Qing Yu on the opposite side still had the same expression. He just looked at Nagato like Shisui, and his pupils were like frozen lakes, quietly saying, "So, can pain really keep peace?" Nagato was taken aback for a moment, and didn't understand what Qing Yu meant. However, before he continues to think, I saw Qing Yu who was opposite, still expressionless, indifferent and authentic. Why don't you think about it, Nagato? In the Ninja World, which of the 3 Ninja World wars that took place did not end with the heavy casualties of various countries and the pain of the people? As people who have experienced and survived wars, you should have felt the pain caused by wars. Then, here comes the problem, although you understand in your hearts that peace is hard won, and are willing to pursue peace. But in fact, are you willing to let go of your hatred for those who provoked war? Qing Yu stared at Nagato and said indifferently. However, as soon as the voice fell, Nagato's eyes shrank suddenly and froze. In fact, not only him, even Konan, who was on the side, stopped breathing for a while, and involuntarily became sluggish. At this time, Qing Yu didn't care about their stunned expressions at all, still staring at Nagato without any shy, and said indifferently. Just think about it, suppose, at this time, an organization that is far stronger than Akatsuki suddenly appeared. With power beyond this world dimension, he launched an attack on the entire ninja world, destroyed your home and hometown, and killed your parents and partners. Subsequently, he declared that he did this to let you remember the pain and cherish the peace in the ninja world. Then would you be willing to do this? I know the answer without answering. Impossible. Pain does make people cherish peace. But in the same way, hatred will be passed on along with the pain. As human beings are emotional animals, the chain reaction caused by hatred is enough for them to wage countless wars in the future. Come for revenge, or come to rise. Is it the peace you want to use the tail beast weapon to create? At the end, Qing Yu raised his eyes directly, stared at Nagato, and said almost every word. And at this moment, after listening to this passage, Konan's heart was shocked again. Nagato suddenly tightened his pupils, his breathing was completely stagnated, and a drop of cold sweat appeared on his forehead. Qing Yu's words, it's like opening the scar directly. Nagato instantly recalled his childhood, the scene when his parents were killed. And the next moment, he couldn't help but think of Akatsuki's companions, dying in the ambush of Hanzo of the Salamander. These two scenes, just as Qing Yu said, because at the time, they were indeed beyond the strength of Nagato, and indeed, they destroyed everything that Nagato cherished. Because of this, it will become the deepest pain in Nagato's heart in the future, and it is also the source of his motivation to firmly create a peaceful world. But in fact, if I think about it carefully, advertisement. Isn't the source of these motivations precisely due to the hatred of war? Aware of this, Nagato's heart shook suddenly, as if awakened from a dream. Cold sweat appeared on his forehead, his spine standing in the cold wind, his hair standing upright. Zero seeking flowers. Original for so many years. My peace concept is actually wrong. The power of the tail beast's weapon is not only the pain, but also the chain reaction of hatred? Nagato gritted his teeth for a while, and dropped his eyes a little unwillingly. This goal, he has been fighting for this for more than 10 years. From the time when Hanzo of the Salamander was overthrown and occupied Rain Shinobi village, he established shinobi, recruited new members, and formulated a new plan. Everything is to prepare for the completion of the tail beast weapon. Also to bring pain to the ninja world. Unexpectedly. All this turned out to be a wrong path. Nagato's eyes are extremely complicated. Although he didn't want to admit, however, there is no doubt that Qing Yu's remarks are correct. Human beings are too easily driven by hatred, once the seeds of hatred are planted. War. Sooner or later it will erupt, in other words. This road may really not work at all along silence. The air in the entire room was instantly frozen, making it hard to breathe and extremely heavy. Even Konan, who was on the side, had his eyes drooping and his eyes were complicated. Zero, she knew in her heart, if before, Qing Yu said these words. Nagato may not be able to bother, because what Nagato has always accepted is the concept of peace conveyed by Uchiha Obito. But this time, after Qing Yu reversely crushed the invading Suya Palace and Uchiha Obito with super strength, everything changed. Compared to the fake Uchiha Madara, Nagato will of course choose to believe in the more authentic and powerful Qing Yu. Besides, today's Qing Yu, as Xiao's trump card, his ideas played a decisive role for the whole Akatsuki. Even, no less than the original Uchiha Madara, in other words. At this moment, Nagato, the psychological defense has been breached. Konan watched all this quietly, but did not speak from the beginning to the end, but silently thought. Because she believes in Qing Yu, so, she was waiting for him to give a better plan one as he just said. Really, just a moment later, Nagato finally thought of something. He raised his eyes with a trace of frustration, and looked at Qing Yu again, his eyes were complex. Since my plan is wrong, so, what about your plan, Qing Yu sang. You just said that you have a peace plan that differs from our philosophy, right? Nagato stared at Qing Yu and asked complicatedly. Up to now, he seemed to have returned to the moment of hesitation at the crossroads many years ago. At this time, Qing Yu grinned gently and the golden pupil flickered in the dark. He lifted a finger lightly and smiled. Listen. In order to maintain long-term peace in this complex ninja world, a condition must be reached. I call it a check and balance of deterrence. That means, within the ninja realm, there must be an organization capable of surpassing the 5 major powers, acting as a deterrent and commanding the operation of the ninja realm. Outside the ninja realm, there must also be an organization that bears the evils of the whole world, acting as a deterrent to the opposing side and oppressing the entire ninja realm.